And we're live. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, guys.
We have another live stream for you guys.
This is true.
I'm glad that we have Blaine's contribution. What is that?
Oh my god. Oh, I love that hat.
Yep. No, it was worth
Awesome.
every penny.
Yeah.
It was worth
When'd you get it?
penny. I fucking ordered it from a place called Commando Store. The recommended pairings were a blue hat that said, "Please be patient, I have autism, and patriotism isn't the only tism I've got."
All amazing options. Wow.
See, I would have gone with T.S. Eliot's The Hollow Men, on the hat.
What?
Wow, I am super red for some reason. It's weird.
I mean, it's sort of it's a stylistic question, right?
Yeah. Sorry, 1 second. All right.
Hello, chat.
We have a show apparently for folks where we're going to talk about all about well, I don't know, like bringing it a little bit more back to earth for thinking about headphones that we enjoy or that we would be forced to use if we could only use. I mean, 5 is a lot, but we'll be talking about that in the stream, along with some other topics.
I think I would still feel limited with 5. But
really?
Yeah.
I mean, so we're saying like no EQ?
Oh, I mean, unless the point of your headphone is to use it with EQ.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. We'll also be most likely pulling some additional topics from chat and also topics from our forum, which you guys can contribute to. Should be linked in the description if you have topics to suggest to us to go over on future live streams. And there's also some really good discussion on our forum lately from some folks. Shout outs to Luke and I can't remember the other person's name, but yeah, good discussion there.
Yeah, ABM 0.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. All to do with basically diffuse field versus front bias sound fields, which is fun. Love that stuff. Also, as always, these streams and all of our content here on the Headphone Show is made possible by headphones.com. Headphones.com is a great place to learn about and buy headphones. They also have a ridiculous 365-day return policy. And part of the reason for that was that the founders didn't just want a store, they wanted a resource for the community. Because that's what they would have wanted. And
I really liked how Andrew Lissamore put it, actually, when he explained it to me, which was it was a forcing function to make them carry stuff that people would actually want and give people accurate information, because if they didn't like it, there would always be a consequence.
Yeah.
Like it.
I will say not everything there is stuff that would get, our reviewers sort of ringing endorsements, but much of it does, or much of it is there. So check out headphones.com. It supports this channel. It makes all of this possible. There's lots of stuff there that is also genuinely good. Apart from that, we also have our Discord. Folks can join us there, discord.gg/headphones, I think, and forum.headphones.com as mentioned. That's where we post all of our measurements too. Was there any? Oh yeah, the last thing I was going to say is this stream should also be available in podcast form for people who don't want to look at our smiling faces, which is also very understandable.
But you'd miss my hats.
Yeah, that's true. You would miss the hat.
So true.
So
the price man should be willing to pay.
Yeah. So if you want to listen to us in your car while you're driving, you can do that. I don't know why, but you could. I think without any further ado, we can get into the show.
Cool.
Do you want to get into our first topic?
Yeah, sure. So the first topic is the headline topic, which is basically, let's go around. We're going to pick 5 headphones to be the only ones we can use for the rest of our life. I want to hear how you guys kind of rationalize dividing it up and what functions are important to you and stuff like that. And this question was suggested by a forum user by the name of Element ZE. Dante21 says Griffin is the only person on Earth who can wear headphones without other people knowing.
Yeah,
you do have luscious locks. It's a really funny idea though, that like most people, because I'm looking at the screen most times, people like do not know what I'm wearing unless they know what this is. We're in the 490 Pro.
So,
Andrew finally sent it back to me.
bless.
Yep. It sounds better now.
It does.
Yes,
Yeah. He burned it in.
Andrew's like Andrew juice burned into it, and now it sounds
Jesus.
better.
You didn't need to say that word.
Yeah. His Andrew juice, his
You just
Andrew
made
flakes, all of it.
Oh my god. I don't like that.
Oh, right.
So who
Hobby
wants to
Talk is
start?
wondering what you think of your successor as Prime Minister of Canada.
Good question.
Good kid.
I feel optimistic well, I don't know about optimistic. I mean, that's not
Oh, his
something that
Andruff. His Andruff
His
is definitely
Andruff.
his Andruff is definitely in this headphone now.
Oh, this stream is taking a
Anyway,
dark turn. No, I think his only real problem is that he doesn't speak to the masses very well. He's kind of too smart for his own good,
He's an
and
economist.
yeah,
could
well,
be.
and as a result,
Oh, this is cringe.
yeah, no, I mean, he was he's been involved in several
He is the only man that
government.
I'm aware of to have led 2 different countries'
Yeah,
central bank.
yeah. So, anyways, he's very smart. I think too smart for his own good, and he comes across a bit too intellectual or elite, which I just have to think the funny, like, there's all these attack ads that we see here in Canada, and like, this is not for me to get political or anything like that, but like, I just think it's kind of funny that the attack ads that the Conservatives have about him right now are the best they can come up with is that he's sneaky.
Fuck yeah.
That's what's running right now, which I think is really funny. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be prime minister for long. I think the next prime minister is most likely going to be the conservative guy.
Gotcha.
So either way, you
So-
need a haircut.
Closing out the endorsement of the Canadian Conservative Party by Andrew Park.
That's
Let's move
not at
into
all
the
what I
topic.
said. No, no, that's not what I said. No, actually, so I didn't vote for the Liberals in the last election. But I might go
God,
that way.
he's making it so
one.
political.
Jesus Christ.
Well,
All right.
like the guy's
Can we
so
please
smart.
talk about headphones? Like
I want the leader of
like
I want
this
the
isn't
leader
even
of,
this isn't even American politics where it like actually affects people. This is Canadian politics.
wow.
Andrew.
Okay. Hey, we're
Yeah, I
about to be
mean-
the 51st state, so it'll affect
No,
us.
you're not. No, you're not.
Okay, now who's getting political?
Anyway, you want to talk about headphones? One of you want to like actually start this, or should
Yeah,
I start?
Yeah, no, I was thinking
go ahead.
about it in my head a bit. I think I have my answers, but the chat is not going to like them.
Okay.
Go for it.
I mean, the obvious one, this one has to be there for critical listening, for gaming, for anytime I'm wearing headphones for a long time. The next 3 are Bose products.
This is so
Just
based.
like Ultra Opens, Quiet Comfort Ultras, Quiet Comfort Ultra earbuds. Sometimes you need ANC. Sometimes you like to have an open earphone.
Bosed.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
all
no,
of-
like
look, all
literally.
of those are tuned reasonably and serve discrete functions. Like that makes all
No.
the sense in the world to me.
The Bose QC Ultra,
It's fine.
it's fine. No, that's what I'm saying. It is
yeah,
fine.
no, with the EQ, it could be like pretty
It's-
solid.
Did you get a chance to hear the unit that I brought to CanJam SoCal?
No, I heard Tam's unit though, and got
Oh,
the
okay.
chance to play around with EQ, and
It's
yeah, it
solid.
was solid. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Rough Dragon
No
notes
complaints.
that Andrew won't have passport issues once Canada becomes the 51st state.
he'll find a way
point.
to still have issues.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no,
But
the,
okay,
the,
what's
the
the
only
fifth
question
headphone?
for me is the 5th, right?
Yeah.
Like 3 Bose HD800, but what is the 5th? And what I can't decide is whether
You
like-
just like Bose because of Christopher Bose and his Plaintive Peace.
no, that's the wrong Bose. That's BOWES.
I know.
But no, like I've been thinking about that one though. Like I'd really love there to be a really nice closed back equivalent to the HD800. Like
HT20.
yeah, no, I mean the 820 with the EQ maybe is the solution, to be honest, cursed as that take is, but like I really would love there to be something that was that ergonomic for something where I don't want my sound leaking everywhere.
Mhm.
I just don't, that product doesn't exist. At least I've never encountered it. So like I'd probably just say Fuck, I'd probably just say like some eddies or something. Like sometimes you actually need a really high frequency noise reduction, like an ER4 or an ER2, or what was the one that had a really high noise reduction? The ER2 MKT or something, whatever it was.
Oh, I have no
Um,
idea. I mean, they're all really high, aren't they?
yeah,
Like,
but there's one that's like 7 dB better. It
Jesus.
didn't sound quite as good, but it was quite close. But that's
Oh,
useful for if you have to use power tools.
I stay away from the ear
Mm.
dildos.
Yeah, honestly, that's
So ironically, the man who hates IMs picked two IMs.
That's what I was gonna say.
yeah.
This is not on
Yeah,
brand.
well, in this case, they're serving a
Yeah.
pretty unique function. Yeah, I hadn't considered that actually, but yeah, I don't know. Hmm.
Okay.
I think that's a
I
reasonable list.
I have to think about my list, but I mean, so much of it is like dependent on if I can EQ. Because if I can EQ, I just say 490 Pro, and then I don't need the other four. Uh,
See, but like
Well, no,
that's
you
not
do.
true though, because you
or like
definitely
for
need
close back and
something
for yeah.
for portable or isolation.
Planes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bose QC Ultra would be on there, right? For
The
planes.
over ear.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Not the alt, whatever. The good one, the over ear. Yeah. For open back, I would have two open backs. One would be the oh gosh, one would be probably I'd say probably an HT600, just because. One would be the Moondrop Cosmo, and
Oh.
the reason for that is because it is that driver works so well with so many different pads, so it's kind of like a chameleon headphone.
And
So
swapping the
that
pads is easy.
it's super easy. Yeah. Um, trying to think what else, man. It's tough. I have to have a close back in there, but most close backs are bad.
This is correct.
Yeah. Maybe. I have to come back on the close back, but for IEMs, for IEMs, something comfortable.
Chat did bring something up which is making me ponder on my last one, and I was thinking about this. If there was a really nice CIEM that I trusted would be made like really well to my ear mold, I would consider that as a last one too.
Okay, so for
The
my
problem with those is that almost all CIEMs have closed front volumes, so it'd have to be like a pretty rare one.
Yeah. So for my last open pick, I'm gonna go HE1 because it's comfortable.
I mean, you don't get them, It's just that you could never listen to
I
anything
could never
else.
listen. I'd be stuck.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like I'd be able to like I'd be able to like EQ, right? So I'm saying. And for closed, man, it's really tough to come up with a closed back. I would say the Dusk Default DSP, but even that is not the most. It's not as comfortable as I want it to be. Like I don't have too much of a problem with it, but I would almost want to pick something more comfortable. So, man, I don't know. Maybe I actually find that the Theaudio Hype series is pretty comfortable. The Hype 4 is pretty comfortable.
I'd
I
agree
might
with that.
consider that. Yeah. And I could just EQ, the treble and the bass if I wanted to, right? So maybe that
You
or
missed the chance to say I've heard that before, Griffin.
oh no, I've got it. I'd go with the 64 Audio U6T.
I like that IEM.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, it has a modular venting.
That's what I'm saying. So like I could use it with EQ, but I also
volume.
wouldn't have to use it with EQ. Right? I'd be able to.
Yeah. No,
I could see the 64s were actually one of the things I was thinking of, but their stock frequency response is
U6T
the U6T is very good in terms of its stock tonality. Maybe too much bass for you, but you'd probably like the MX.
You just go with one of the other modules.
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Like U6T is very DF compliant in the mid range, and the MX module
Mm-hmm.
is significantly less bassy and more vented. It's real only stark coloration is that there's a bit of a 14 kilohertz peak.
I mean,
Which,
I
yeah.
don't really care that much
Yeah,
about
no.
that, to be
Yeah, no,
fully
but
honest.
otherwise it's very solid.
Yeah.
Like honestly, one of the best IEMs out there still, I think. But is that all 5, Andrew?
I think that's 5. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, let's see. I did HC600, Cosmo, HE1, what was the Bose QC Ultra and U6T.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like when I originally put this together, I thought of it like I would have more variety in terms of type of headphone. Um, my first would be LCD4. It's just a headphone I've always
And it's for the ergonomics, right?
loved.
That's why you like it.
So I don't mind the ergonomics. Like it's very heavy, but the way it sits on my head is like
Mm.
among the most perfect actually I've ever had of any headphone. It's just so snug, but in a way that isn't like clamp death or like
Yeah.
top of head death. So it's very
Mhm.
well rounded in the pressure it applies. So it'd be that. It would be an HD 800, obviously, because again, I do really like the comfort of it, and it's one where like the acoustics just make a lot of sense for me. I like how open it is. Um, an AirPods Pro 2 would probably be the I don't know if it would be the only IEM, but it's the most comfortable IEM I've used. And obviously it has the benefit of being useful for like isolation on planes
Its
and stuff like
ANC
that.
is inconsistent, though. That's the problem. If you
It's
go on
pretty
a like, it's
consistent for me typically.
not good for planes.
That
It's,
has not been my experience.
yeah, I get like left side less ANC than the right side, if depending on where I'm sitting, right, in the plane.
Hi, Crane. I don't know what that means. Oh, you mean plane's hat?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but so I had HD 800 LCD4. Oh, the for the close back, like passive close back, I would be getting the ATHW
Oh
2022 from
God.
Audio Technica. Um,
It's, it's
beautiful headphone. Even if I never wore the headphone, just having that in my
full
house.
warm poo.
Yeah. Raw flat is justice headphone. But yeah, I love that headphone. That is kind of like the LCD4 where it's absolutely colored, but in a way that makes
Hmm.
everything I put through it sound just more fun and engaging to me. Um, and that's 4. I legitimately don't think I would get a wired IEM that currently exists and be like yeah, I want to listen to this over the AirPods Pro 2. So should probably be another like over ear headphone. Um,
Yamaha.
oh god, honestly, dude, like I have 4 other headphones. I don't need a 5th headphone to listen to. I'll just buy another nice looking one. Yeah, Yamaha YH5000. Sure. Yeah, like seriously though, like I feel like if I'm gonna have 5 headphones, at least one of them should just be like to look out while I listen to the other ones.
Yeah.
And the
I feel like
YH5000 is
there's
so
got to be
good.
5 discrete uses for headphones, though.
Yeah.
But I mean, that would require there to be a good closed headphone, pretty much.
Yeah. What
I
you
mean,
can use.
I would be perfectly happy with the W2022 with no EQ for like
Yeah, of course.
main headphone listening.
Okay,
Like I
But
just
if you
really like
did
that
EQ it,
headphone.
you would reduce the treble even more.
okay, but
I
the
wouldn't. No, the treble is
W2022.
treble's fine.
Uh,
So here's a question. Everything in that style from AT that I've tried before had only slightly more isolation than like Fostex closed stuff. Is that still true of the W2022?
I would say yes. I'm not buying that for its isolation. I'm buying it for its sound quality. If I need isolation, I'll just use the AirPods Pro 2. I guess maybe I
Pain.
should have an IEM for isolation though, like passive isolation. Yeah, I mean,
Pain.
look, I guess I can do the I can bite the Eddie bullet uh for
The
for that.
dong.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
don't like how they sound, and I really don't like the comfort either.
So just
I find
isolation.
them actually pretty ergonomic, no cap.
I feel like once you get them in there all the way, they are comfortable, but they do not wear well over a long
I
period. Like, I
I
feel
don't
like
know,
I
man.
get
I
fatigue in
find
my
it the
ear canal, like,
opposite,
within 30
actually.
minutes.
I
Hmm.
I can't like the weird thing about them for me is also like even if you get them in all the way, if as you're just going, like you're just listening and you're moving around, if one is slightly not quite as far in as the other, it's like really sensitive to um positional consistency for both, and you get the channel imbalance in situ.
Mm,
I found that to be the case. At least it was very easy for that to happen for me.
that's
That didn't
interesting.
um
happen to me super much, but I think I have longer canals than you.
oh, I don't know. I'm a long canal boy, long and loose.
Yeah, I'm not happy with that answer actually for my 5th. I think I would probably, in the real world, actually just choose, like, a soft ears volume S
Scott,
because
I'm not
because
surprised. Scott says Eddie's not there.
you wanna talk about shocking turns, we gotta
Yeah.
take a look at your ear canal, Scott. There are some shocking turns in that thing, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably just take a volume S for if I needed passive isolation. I just don't
Mm,
love the comfort of it, but the tonal tilt works very well for me. So,
mhm. Cool. All right.
yeah.
Um, that's the end of that question.
Yeah,
Or
I
that
guess.
topic.
I mean, I feel like I was expecting to have more like not disagreement, but I guess like uh, disagree more on kind of the method we use to segment them out. But I think
Well, I
we
mean,
all
the
pretty
problem
much
is,
were aligned on
like,
that.
we're all cynical is the thing, though. Like, so
Okay,
all of us are
should we
basically
judge?
like
Like, let's
one
judge each other's,
headphone. All right, sure.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, Andrew's pick of the HU1, I feel like
It's a shit
I,
post.
I mean,
Yes.
not even a shit post. No, I just feel like am I the only one that feels like having one of those at home would actually be kind of inconvenient? Like, I just feel like what I
What
like
in what
about
way?
headphones and why I don't have any like source gear around is
Like
because
not from my desk. I put that somewhere else.
Oh, I
mm,
would 100%. If I had an HE1, that would be the headphone that I use all the time.
It's
I just
comfortable,
have a
man. It's very
I just
comfortable.
have a space on my desk. That's where the
Yeah.
giant marble abomination would sit. I'd fucking put my soda can on it.
yeah, I don't know.
Let the tubes that do basically nothing, like rise up and put your soda can on that.
they add swag. How could you say
Yeah.
they do nothing? Uh,
Like
I like picking up my listening station and moving into the other room if I need to though. And
you
like
can do
that's
that with
kind of why
HU1.
no, you can't.
Well,
You
just,
really can't.
just go to the gym more.
No, I do most of my listening on laptop and the fact that like with this if I unplugged the microphone I could just walk away and go to the couch and not interrupt my listening. Like I really value that. I do that all the time.
Mm.
And an HE1 just like would not
Just put it
work
on
for
like a
that.
movable cart that you can roll.
I mean, look, I guess if I'm affording an HU1, I have a much larger living space than I
There you
have
go.
currently too. So maybe,
Mhm.
I mean, the
or
main
maybe just
thing
have
is,
two separate HU1s.
Yeah.
like, none of us would buy an HE1 because we'd have to be like deca millionaires before we'd be willing to do that.
Well, Griff also doesn't even like it, so
Yeah,
there's
no,
that.
I just wouldn't buy it. Period.
Yeah. Okay. Um, it did
I
not
use
bring you
my
to tears.
MacBook, reluctant engineer.
Okay. Can we judge Blaine's pick of the bows? Should we
Which
judge?
one?
My only judgment of your picks, Blaine, are um the earlobey ones, the
The ones he's wearing
earring.
now.
Yeah. That style. Wait, you picked the Bose QC Ultra. What were the other? Did you pick
The
the earbuds?
QC in-ear ones, yeah.
Those ones
The
are a bit
Ultra over and in
and
ear.
the in-ear. Okay, the in-ears are a bit shouty. Those
They are a
ones,
bit shouty, but they're
yeah,
also one of the few IEMs that I find ergonomic that has good isolation.
yeah.
I would say
Those
even the
ones,
shout is not a huge issue. Like otherwise, it is very reasonably tuned.
those ones that you have there are also quite on the glary side, depending
Oh
on
yeah.
how, yeah. So, and they lack the low frequency stuff
I
generally.
mean, it's
Naturally.
an open microdriver, but the ergonomics.
See, I'm trying to roast you here. So I think secretly the only reason that you like those is because you secretly want to wear earrings, and this is your way of doing that.
You know,
I feel like it would be much easier to just wear earrings.
Yeah,
yeah.
probably.
I mean, like, I guess these are basically a clip-on.
Yeah.
My cousin used to have a hook through his ear at that same spot, like in the little. I should remember what this section is at the back of the concha. So I guess this is basically just the clip-on version of that.
So
I
actually,
don't
what
know.
you could do, you know, how, like Sean did a bunch of testing on like different ears compared to like across different people, and one of the examples was somebody wearing earrings. You could do
Mhm.
that same testing just wearing those.
Yeah, but these have something that's in the concha bowl, so it will have a meaningful impact. Like, and
Yeah.
you can hear it, right? Because it disrupts the standing wave in the concha. It does, like, that's why they're not fully transparent. And if they ever make a version of this that doesn't actually intrude in the
Mm.
concha at all, that would be my pick.
I will say, I think that makes more sense than what Nothing Ear did with the like around the pinna style,
Mhm.
because depending on how large your ear is, you can go from having like it move it significantly, right? Like the for smaller ears, like you'd actually have it placed right over top of the ear canal, but for larger ears, it's in completely the wrong spot, and there's
There's
nothing you can
nothing
do.
you can do about it.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's why it's this. I mean, almost all the Bose aren't because they are the single best thing in their product category in sound quality necessarily, but they're ergonomic. They have multi-device pairing. That multi-device pairing works pretty well, even though it's not doing the whole Apple thing. They're convenient.
Hmm.
I'm used to them.
Brain
Yeah,
burning.
all makes
So
sense. If anything,
Griffins.
I think I
Yeah.
probably have the most roastable
Oh
list,
yeah, your pick of that
like by
Audio
an order of
Technica like
magnitude.
warm poo thing is like
Yeah.
even by
Well,
your own admission, cloyingly warm.
The
particularly
wait, sorry, the
because
Audio
it's
Technica one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
particularly
say
because
that with
it's
such a shit-eating grin. You're like, yeah.
No, that shit goes hard. I love that thing.
Oh my
okay.
god.
Do you $9,000 love it or whatever it costs?
I mean, look, it's the only headphone over like $1,000 where I've been like, I actually like the tuning of this headphone.
All right, all right, fair enough, fair enough. So that's the most roastable though, because it's a $9,000
Of
AT.
course. It's an Audio Technica
Um,
closed back. If you didn't roast me, you would be betraying your civic duty.
I
I
mean, to
mean,
me, it's more just like that's an indictment of Griffin's preferences.
and what were your ANCs again? It was AirPods Pro and what?
That's it.
AirPods
Just
Pro
just
2.
that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that not having an over-ear ANC is also roastable. Like
Yep.
for a long plane
And when
trip, it's
those
just not that nice to have something in your ears.
and when those
I find it much worse to have something on the top of my head than in my ears. And most of the
So
ANC over ears I've tried, like, do not avoid that.
the nice thing is that you can switch. Right? Like if you have an ANC in
So
ear
if
and
you
an
have
ANC
both.
over here. Yeah, exactly. So like if I'm like, yeah, no, my head's sick of being in a vice. All right, I'm putting these in, and then 2 hours later, I'm like, yeah, my
well
ear canals are getting distended.
you wear the in-ears when you have to wear that hat, which is,
All the time.
it's important.
Yes,
I mean, this hat is very
especially if I'm
important to
crossing
me.
Yeah.
international borders.
Yeah. No, so
Um,
this is the thing though, like when the ANC eventually stops working on that APP2, you're going to be wanting that Bose QC Ultra.
well, let's say for the purposes of this example that because it's a headphone that's meant to be used for the rest of your life, it will actually last for that
Oh,
period.
okay. Okay. See, the thing is, like, my APP2 worked fine initially, and then it started developing that channel issue for the
Yeah.
ANC
I
on the
mean,
plane.
like, let's assume actually, here's one that'd be interesting. What if we could be sure that we could we wouldn't be sure it would work forever, but we could be sure we could buy successors to it?
Yeah, I mean that's
Oh, the AirPods Pro 2 is easily the
yeah,
one
Yeah.
that I
The
would even
AirPods
I would put that on
signed
my
up for.
list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
mine I would be pretty confident in my picks for things that I would be able to buy good versions of in 10, 20 years.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, ultimately the AirPods thing is just a comfort thing for me. Like it's the most comfortable in-ear I've worn by an order of magnitude.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm surprised you didn't roast me on the Cosmo
no, I like that headphone. Oh, were you talking to
no
Blaine?
I mean
for the no
I
for the
mean,
ergonomics.
Your head is
yeah.
massive. Like
That's true.
it's probably way better for you than it is for me.
With alternative pads, it actually becomes quite comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
the
don't
issue is
believe
that the
you.
stock ones are very thin.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Have you seen the FR result with the FT1 Pro pads?
I don't
It is
remember. You sent me a bunch of them.
yeah, like so it has too much upper treble, right? But like my
Mhm.
and it's like at 14 kilohertz, whether or not you care about that, but like it is extremely smooth for a planar. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I believe it. It's just like it really doesn't pass the ergonomic smell test for me. Like that is the thing.
yeah, yeah,
Like I
which
could
is fair.
see it being really good sounding. It's not my sound, but I know that you like it,
Mhm.
dark poo. Um,
Dark poo. Again,
yeah,
check the different check the results from different pads. That's the whole reason why I picked it because
Yes,
yeah,
like
it
it's
is unique
so you
looking.
can turn it into a hi-fi man sound signature, you can turn it into a focal sound signature, Odyssey, whatever. It's
mm,
or a blend of all of them. Like it's yeah.
Yeah, but like the Hi-Fi Man sound signature you get without all of the modal bullshit.
That's right. That's what I'm
yeah.
saying.
I
It's
mean, but those modes don't really matter.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. I mean, it does kind of just kind of speak to how the acoustics of the headphone and diaphragm are done though, which
that's what I'm saying
Yeah,
is I
yeah,
think that
does
driver is
make a difference.
extremely capable because it is like I wouldn't say it's like quite on the level of the LCD5 sort of like non-modal or like the
Well, yeah,
MS5
no, I
camera
just meant
non-modal.
kind of the balance it strikes in terms of
Yes.
dampening seems
Yeah,
seems
exactly.
like what I would
It's
want.
exactly what I would want. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Okay.
No, I mean, I think that the thing here is we really need Cameron on because he would actually be agonizing over how to pick like 3 high-end headphones and ANC stuff, whereas we're all just like, all right, there's like 2
High-end
good
headphones
headphones
talk, I'll
on
pick
Earth.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly 2 good headphones exist, so I'll have those and then a bunch of convenience stuff.
Yeah,
Uh
I'll pick 2 good headphones, 1 flavor for headphone, and then 2
Yeah.
for
So like
convenience.
this is the
Yeah.
thing. It's like we have to talk about headphones and their sound quality and we want to like, focus on the ones that are like, oh my God, this is amazing sound quality. But like in practice, we have to live our lives. And there are these convenience devices that
Yeah.
are, we can't they can't be overlooked.
And they also just don't sound that bad. Like
I was kind of shocked at how not bad the Bose QC Ultra was. Like I
yeah.
wouldn't say it was perfect. It wasn't amazing, but like uh,
I mean, look,
compared to
we've been in
so
this
many of the
for a
ANC
while, and
devices out
like
there,
5
it's like,
years ago, they were not
yeah,
as reasonable as they are now.
yeah, no,
Um,
yeah, solid. All right. Next topic. Next topic. I tire of
sure.
this one.
That's fine. So the next one is what headphone that came out in the last year, so 2024, is underrated, and which one is overrated?
Cosmo is underrated.
It's a good answer, honestly. Like I think in terms of the discourse not rising to meet the level of good that a product actually was, I
It's
think the Cosmo is one of the top on my list.
and it's partially my fault because I didn't raise it in our video that we did on like the best headphones of the year, and I
Mhm,
probably should have. It wouldn't have won for me because again the ergonomics are still a problem, right? But as far as
mhm,
like the thing like sound quality is concerned and like the things that you can do with that headphone and that driver, it's like I was kind of blown away by it. Like it's I would you'd be hard pressed to find something that good at way higher price tags as well. Like most
mm.
of the ones that are higher price tags don't perform that well for the driver. So, yeah, like I would say Moondrop Cosmo there. So is the other part of the question overrated, or
Yeah.
what would be overrated? 490 Pro, also our fault.
Overrated?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. No,
uh,
you're not wrong.
the pad burn and notwithstanding.
Oh god. I mean, to be clear, it didn't make it good. It just made it like marginally better in the
There you
treble.
go. Yeah. What else would be? I'm trying to think. What else would be overrated? Truthier 0 to Blue or Blue 2, although that came out this year, so I don't know if that counts.
It's this year.
Yeah, like that
And it
thing
came
was.
out
I
last
mean,
year specifically.
yeah. I mean, you can do it within the last 365 days if you want.
Yeah.
And
So
sorry,
if
Andrew,
if
you were
we're
saying
doing,
that's overrated?
yeah.
I don't think people were talking about it very
Oh, were
highly. Like
they? I don't know.
I
I
think
know
the
there was some
discourse around it
complaint.
has been fairly negative.
Negative. Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't know what the sentiment was, but oh, okay. How do you guys feel about how Grellphone fits into here?
I don't think it's either of these
That's
because I
not
think
in the last 365 days. I'm pretty
oh,
sure
Is
that's
it
that's
also
not?
true.
2023. Yeah.
Ooh, really?
Am I
No.
wrong?
No, no, no.
No,
Wait,
it's
no.
2024.
Yeah, no, no. It was last year. It was
Yeah,
last
last
year.
year.
In terms of its actual
Okay.
release,
Yeah,
Oh
the
yeah.
prototyping was quite long and more public than other releases. So I think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
probably where that error is coming from. I think whatever reception it got was pretty proportional to how good the headphone is, which is it didn't get a lot
Sad.
of buzz because it's not very good.
hmm
Um,
What are your guys' over and under? I still need to think about overrated now.
I mean, the two that immediately jump out to me would be whatever the latest version of the Diana or whatever is from Abyss, because they seem to release a new one every year, and
Did you
everyone
hear the
always
most
sort of.
recent one?
I haven't heard the most recent one. I also don't believe that it can possibly be worth the amount of froth that it gets, particularly given its predecessors.
It was better than the other ones.
I would believe that. I would believe that. The most overhyped has to be the Amonis, though, right? Or is
Oh
the
yeah,
Amonis still in that window?
that's got to be it. That's got to be it. Yeah.
Because like any hype on the Amonis is surreal to me.
I feel
Well,
like it
did you
actually did
see?
not have that much like
Oh no,
purchase
it
in the
didn't
Reddit
have that
community.
much hype. It's just
Yeah.
that any amount was too much.
Okay, did you
Okay.
see the measurements on the 5 and 2.8 that Griffin took at Canjum, New York?
Well, the
Of the
5128 shows it as having smoother treble
But the
than
thing is, that
other
was also a
heads.
different unit, right?
It
So
was.
like,
This is
that's what
true.
I'm wondering is like, is this
How much is variance a
how
factor?
much? Yeah, exactly. I didn't hear. Did you listen to that unit?
Briefly. It
Did it
sounded the
sound
same. No,
still
it sounded like what I remembered.
like the glass shatter sound?
Yeah. I mean, look, I didn't hate that headphone. It did have like one nasty peak, but you know,
Yeah.
the colorations made sense, I think.
Okay.
Um sorry, what was your underrated, Blaine?
Well, no, I was sort of chewing on that. Harchu in chat suggests the Verum 2 because its rating has been extremely poor for obvious reasons, but as an actual product, it's not bad, which I think is actually a fair take.
Have you heard the
Although I'm
Verum 2?
not sure. I haven't heard the Verum 2. I have seen the measurements and I know how Igor designs headphones, though, so I actually do believe that it would be pretty okay. I don't necessarily, I like his ergo was never very good, and also all of the other problems.
Blaine
But
just likes cat ears, and that's the
Yes.
cat ear headphone.
I think there's a no, not the two. The one
Oh,
was.
okay.
Um, no, I mean like I was gonna say the QC Ultra, but then I looked and it's like 4 months too old for
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah.
Legitimately, that would be my pick if I could stretch it. For something more recent that's underrated, fuck. I'm trying to think of something I like that came out this year. When did the Composer launch?
Oh,
This year. Like in
mm,
the last year.
I don't think so. No, because they had it at SoCal
Yeah, but launch and announce is two different things.
2023. Maybe you're right.
It's either late 23 or
Oh,
early
okay.
24.
Maybe it doesn't
I
count
think
then.
I think Composer is too old.
Too old. Okay. How did you
Yeah.
feel, Blaine, about this one?
The
550.
550. Did you get to listen to it,
I
Blaine?
didn't get a chance.
Damn.
It's really tragic. I wanted to listen to that all Can Jam, but like Can Jam was literally nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
No, I mean that's
sorry, do you typically find that the 5 series I guess treble presentations have the same issues that the 6 series has for you?
no. I felt that it had different issues.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think. Like, fuck, that's actually a legitimately hard question. I'm
I
not
mean,
sure if I like anything that has come out in either the last 12 months or in 2024.
I imagine that the
Okay.
550 would be on your list if you had a chance to hear it.
I
I'm
mean,
not sure it would
that's
be
the thing. Like,
underrated though.
No,
I,
no,
The talk
not
has been
underrated.
very positive.
Yeah.
I also don't want to put a stamp on something that I've never heard. Like, I not only have I never heard, like, the Diana's like, okay, well, maybe I haven't heard this one, but it's the same with the AB 1266. There were like 3 iterations of that or whatever. I don't give a shit. They were very similar. But for something that's a complete new thing and that seems pretty novel, I would struggle to say, yeah, that's fucking fantastic because I really don't like doing that, you know?
Sure.
What's the
Um,
headphone that's been panned by critics, but
Panned by critics.
you might, I think doesn't deserve the hate, you know?
I mean, I hate to say it, the OAE one is probably the closest thing.
Um,
Like that's the first thing that comes to mind that was in that time window that I think was probably underrated. Not that it's good. Not that it's good. I think that there's a lot of problems with that, and we're going to be hopefully talking to Yermo and Axel about that soon.
Crinton says
Um,
HD8XX.
was that in the last year?
for
No,
overrated or
it was a
underrated?
while ago. It was
Like,
like 3 years ago.
what's Crin saying here? That
That
it
it's
got too much
underrated,
hype?
I assume.
Underrated?
Or maybe
Oh man,
overrated.
yeah,
Overrated
It
might
could be
make more
either.
sense.
I
In different
guess.
subsets of the community, it was both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do think the OAE one would be a pick for underrated, not because it's really good, but because its response was so overwhelmingly bad,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? Like, I think that that's sort of in the same way that the Imanis wasn't the most hyped thing of ever, but it's
Well,
so
this
overwhelmingly
just
bad
gets
to my
down
ear.
to like the semantics of overrated and underrated.
I mean, look, I'm on a
Semantic
stream
hour.
with Andrew and Blaine. That's gonna happen. Like, it's just we just gotta
Yeah.
accept it and move on.
Yeah. All right.
Uh,
Next one.
well, I haven't given mine.
Oh, you haven't given yours. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fucked up of you to just erased Griffin like that.
Well,
Many such cases.
Trudeau no longer is in power.
So I
So
don't know how controversial this pick is going to be, especially because it, unlike many headphone releases, actually did get a following pretty quickly and got positive praise. I actually think the FIO FT1 Pro is underrated,
mm,
despite having
Interesting.
like a pretty decent response. I think that thing being $200, or I guess a bit more now because of the tariffs, is like pretty shocking.
I thought you were gonna say volume S.
I've had a lot of my friends. I've been reconnecting with some people from my past and kind of catching up. And I tell them I work at a headphone company now, and they'd be like, "Oh, okay. What headphone should I get?"
Just had a
And honestly, for
sales.
most people, I'm finding FT1 Pro to be the thing that probably makes the most sense.
Mm.
And I feel like it being so affordable and frankly better
Ooh.
tuned than most of Hi-Fi Man's headphones, and pretty ergonomic out of the box. Like, I think it could be
It's
better,
its only
but
real issue is, I mean, it has a couple of quirks, but like the big issue is probably the excursion limit, making EQ kind of a challenge in the bass.
yeah, but I'm not recommending like normal people do that.
Yeah,
And like
that's fair.
even
If
like
you
with
hit
its
that limit,
quirks,
you're a
it's pretty.
degenerate.
This is a base take.
Yeah,
It was the
it's
same
the
with focals. If you hit
yeah.
the limit on the clear, you're a degenerate and you shouldn't have headphones.
Yeah. But yeah, I think there was a tendency to kind of see them as a compromised middle point between the 6 series and the Hi-Fi Man stuff, when in actuality, they kind of like are a compromise of both that actually makes sense
Of
and
both?
gets you. Andrew and I were having a discussion yesterday about how I pronounce that word with a U in the middle, or no, with an L in the
With an
middle.
L. Yeah.
Both. Um,
Both folks.
but I think it actually represents like a very like well balanced midpoint where you get kind of the smoother treble relative to the Hi-Fi Man options, but you get the better bass relative to the Sennheiser options.
Yeah.
I can't blame other people for like kind of seeing it as like the downsides of both, where you get kind of the lower treble
Mhm.
roughness of the Sennheisers, where there's maybe like a low treble peak and then a mid treble dip or whatever. And then you get kind of like the wonky mids of the Hi-Fi Man. Like I totally get that perspective, but I think in terms of how most normal people would kind of receive that sound, yeah.
Yeah.
I also put it on a few people's heads and heard them say this is the most comfortable headphone I've ever worn.
Really?
Now these are people that like are just used to consumerify stuff,
Mm.
so
Yeah, the
it makes sense
normies.
that just something with enough room
Yeah.
around the ear would be
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a game changer for them.
Yeah.
But you know that did stick out to me, and
It
I
makes
think
sense to me that you like, you might say, well, it's kind of like the best of both worlds for the wideband, but, like, the worst of both for the granular shit.
yeah, if you're a nerd, it's yeah.
So, like, if you are indexing for, like, what's most perceptually relevant, it would be the wideband, and that's why it makes sense.
Yeah.
I
So
feel like I don't know
oh,
how well it was received, right? Like it came out right during the whole Hingegate thing.
it did. I'm mostly basing it on like frankly, like Andrew and Doug's review was like mildly positive is I think the kind of the tone I got from it,
Yeah,
which
it was
I think is
positive with
fair.
a
I think in
couple of
terms of a
caveats.
objective
Yeah.
kind of how this would work for audiophiles, that makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Um, but I think when compared to kind of the hype that the FT1 got,
Yeah, this
um,
did it FU1 Pro did not get the same,
yeah, it's like an order, it's like 1/10 of the hype
yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
FT1,
Yeah.
which again is fair. I just don't. I actually think I probably prefer FT1 Pro as a product.
Mm.
Uh, and like sonically, I think it kind of fits the audiophile thing a little bit more.
By
Uh,
the way, I have the correct answer for most overrated product that came out in the last, uh, year.
well, I haven't given mine yet, so wait, no, tell me yours.
Cost Porta Pro Wireless.
Oh, maybe
That did get a lot of hype.
it did. Now, it did deliver exactly what it said it was going to deliver. To be fair,
That's true.
um,
But what it delivered wasn't really worth the hype.
I still stand that headphone. Although the overtime, so like part of the issue with that headphone is I didn't get to spend much time with it. Like I used it
Oh, it was
for a
just
few
yeeted
used it
from
for a
you.
few hours, gave it
Yeah.
to my partner, and that was that.
Yeah.
Um, but I did get a
Which is a
chance to
good
use it a little
sign
bit
for,
more, and you know she's loved it for the whole time she's had it. But um, yeah, the controls are a little oversimple, I think, and kind of have a weird rhythm to them.
Scott, we gotta get ETA to make theirs wireless, and then they can compete.
Even when nobody else has my back, I know Scott has my back. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. And yes, Porta Pro Wireless has the most aura and the most drip. But
I saw it
actually,
on
and
the
this
bus
is
the other day.
where I'm going to immediately betray Scott Pledger. I actually think the most overrated headphone of the last year was the Dan Clark Audio E3.
Oh wait, was that the last year? Oh
Was
yeah,
it?
then that would actually probably be my pick too. That got glazed.
Yeah, that got glazed out the wazoo, and it is so just middling. Like it is the least special $2,000 headphone I'm aware of,
So, you
proportional
know
to the amount of
what's
positive coverage it got.
what's funny is that's the only one for me where the AMTS does work. It
So I
doesn't
will
work
say
on
the
any of the others.
AMTS does work for
Yeah.
me too.
Oh,
It
okay.
doesn't matter. It's just
Yeah.
like not a very engaging sound signature. It's like
Wait, you like the stealth better? Oh, no, I can't
I
get
do
behind
like the
that.
stealth better. Yeah.
Oh, I do not.
Wild.
Yeah.
I do not. But Blaine,
Yeah.
yeah, you heard this. Well, okay. How much of that though do you think is unit variation for both E3 and the
It could
stealth?
be.
Because
I've
like
only heard 2 stealth units. I mean, I did hear both
we
of them
heard two
as
stealth units.
yeah, I did
Haven't
hear
Uh,
we
both of
all
them as better than the 2
seen stealth
E3s I've
unit?
heard.
really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
so
surprising to
it
me.
was mostly a mid-range thing, like, in terms of how it cohered with the base. I felt like E3 was, like, much more disjointed and, like, kind of
Yeah, no,
like
I get what you mean.
kind of like, the meta IAMs, honestly, where, like, the mid-range is, like, a little warm, but the base is just, like, so overpowering compared to it, which I wasn't expecting because I have long hair. But,
Mm,
yeah, it just felt really, like, muffled and occluded, but kinda thin at the same time. It just sounded like way too much bass, and, like, because the treble, like, worked for me, the treble was
mhm.
actually a little bit dark on my head.
Oh, on the
Um,
E3?
yeah, so it just felt, like, really,
So your
really,
issues
like,
with it were
muffled
not the
tilted
thing.
and then, like,
Yeah, yeah,
kind
yeah.
of lean mids. It was weird. I don't like that headphone.
Yeah. I mean,
I
this is just
The E3's upper mids bugged me more. That's always what gets me on DCAs is the
yeah.
mids.
But you know, the answer is supposed to be that you go down and forward, but I also don't
That's
naturally
why I wear
tend
every
to.
headphone.
Well, you do. I don't. I kind of struggled to with that. So for me, like that was the biggest issue is there was a bit of the show. But as I was just saying earlier, like I was surprised at how much I preferred the treble for the E3 over the stealth.
Hmm.
You know,
No,
HUD,
I would
this
say
take is terrible.
what?
He
Eris is
said Eris is
underrated.
underrated.
Nick? Is Nick
No,
in
that's
chat saying that?
PUD.
Wait,
No,
Pud
that's
said that?
PUD. Yes.
I just assumed it was Nick because he glazes that thing. Pud, why? Are you saying for
Why are
comfort
you like
reasons?
this?
That is like easily the worst headphone that came out in the last year.
I'm honest.
Ooh.
No, I'm sorry. Uh,
At least the Eris is comfortable.
I don't care.
It is more comfortable
Also,
than the Amanus, but I do think
it
Amanus
looks
sounds
less horrible.
considerably better.
Amanus sounds so much better. Like
Well, I mean, the thing is, both of them are fucking unlistenable for music for me. I'll not lie.
Mhm.
Like that's the
uh,
thing. And if they're gonna be unlistenable for anything other than like a podcast, I may as well go with the comfortable one that doesn't make me look like a prick. Well, the one that doesn't contribute to me looking like a prick.
I mean, it kind of does.
Jesus. I don't co-sign this take, but I understand why you're saying it.
Oh, Scott says he thinks Amanus is worse than Eris. Both are better for firewood than headphones.
My man.
uh, you probably get a little
Yeah.
bit more burn out of the Amanus.
Well, yeah, it actually has wood, whereas the
Yeah,
Eris just would melt.
yeah. So
I mean,
Amanus better
once you
than
melt
Eris.
the plastic, though, it'll off-gas some flammable shit.
Yeah.
Lovely. This is what dreams are made of. Reluctant engineer with a few base takes in chat. Meta with base boost is the most overrated. Honestly, like not in terms of anyone like really like loving them, because I feel like the reception has been like, yeah, it's good, it's safe, it's whatever. Um,
Well, we can't. There's embargo.
oh no, I thought he was talking about like the new meta target
Oh,
like
Jen. Okay, sorry. I
approach.
think
Yeah,
the
like the
product.
tuning approach.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I wasn't talking about the IEM itself.
Well, we were talking about this a little bit in our. We can talk about this because it's not doesn't relate to the product, but like we were talking about this before. How like what a generally good theoretical foundation has been co-opted into products that are not necessarily indicative of what that foundation is supposed to be.
Yes.
You know what I mean? um,
Yeah, and he says
so
Volume S is better than the 2024 meta-tuned IEMs. Amen, brother.
see, but the funny thing is, like, I'm so much more bothered by the ear gain of Volume S than the goodness of the rest of it being its bass and its
When it comes to
treble.
IEMs, you are a lore ho boy through and through.
Well, not so much Lorho actually. It's more the like lower treble. Lorho would be like ear gain 3K ish
Yeah, it'd be
region, right?
two and a half.
Yeah, for me, it's
3K.
closer to like 4, 5, 6K that becomes the problem on most, let's say normal IEMs,
Mhm.
and that it's like that's where my attention goes to the problem. Like, oh, if there's an
Yeah,
air
no.
glare here, that's why Harman's so
Kyle had the
solid.
same issue with
Yeah,
Volume S in particular. that the
I mean,
low
the
length
mids are
mode
also
really
weird. Like it's got a
did
dip
that
at like
upper mid
500
range
hertz,
stuff.
and
Mm.
yeah. But
Yep.
I get what you're saying about like the bass to treble profile being better, right? More
Yeah.
linear, and that makes more sense for that kind of thing.
Yep.
Mystic
Any
8,
other?
I have listened to Mystic 8. It sounded a little bit on the lean side. I agree with Grin there. Yeah. But I'm actually chatting with Joseph to try and get one in. So maybe I'll get a chance to spend more time with it.
Cool. PB&J Reese's?
Chad is talking about the oh god, cursed.
I'd be interested to try.
EQ
Chad is
your IMs to
discussing which
JM1 with
headphones smell best.
I don't like this. EQ your IMs to JM1 with -1 dB slope, no bass boost. That's not unreasonable. Maybe a little bit dark.
It's
A little
I
bit
mean,
probably
thick.
isn't
dark.
that just that's
It's a little bit
that's just
thick
like
in the
Optimum Hi-Fi, right?
No, it's not. JM1?
No. Yeah, the JM1 HRTF plus -1 dB per octave slope should be pretty close to Constantine's
Really?
Optimum Hi-Fi. Yeah, because they're
Hmm.
both basically a DF HRTF.
But is it based on a population average year for Optima Hi-Fi?
Well,
Well, I mean,
no, but that
it's not
oh
that
my
deep.
god.
No, I legitimately don't know. That's why I'm like
No,
asking.
it's not, but I'm going
Okay.
to shoot myself if someone cares about details that
It's a
small.
different HRTF, but similar tilt in theory.
Oh, okay. Um. Okay.
Yeah, Mystic 8 seems like it would be the
So what?
opposite of what I want.
Yeah, you wouldn't want that. I think that like a full flat tilt would potentially get into the woes that Critical's worried about the low mids
Yeah.
being too muddy and too thick.
I think what he's saying has purchase there. Like I actually do
Yeah.
think the approach of using the high shelf to kind of keep the low mids where they are, but reduce the upper mids and treble relative to it is probably the more efficient way to go about that. And I actually think the value he chose, like the -4 decibels
Yeah.
in the treble, is like near perfect, like near enough to perfect that I would
Fine.
never have any issues with it. But oh my god, it's a lot of bass.
Yep.
Anyway,
But you just
I
don't
don't
like
know why
fun.
he's such
You
a
just don't
bass
like fun,
boy.
Griffin. You got to let fun into your life.
I have plenty of
I'll
fun.
be honest. Like I have dealt with the bass on the Bose stuff, but it's just like you turn it down a bit and you're like, wow, everything sounds so much more actually right.
See, as my cousin Sarah says, if there's no bass in your life, there's no reason for living.
Okay, so we're being asked about something called the Chopin. Do we know what that is?
Chopping?
Not the
Yes.
binary acoustics one.
That's the Giz audio.
I don't think that's what he's
Mm.
talking about
Oh,
because he's saying it doesn't snag his hair. Are you talking about the binary acoustics Giz audio one?
IEM's not snagging hair. Good product.
Yeah, I didn't know that snagging hair was it was a problem with the original. I still haven't heard a Chopin. I would like to.
Yeah, I haven't either. I hear it's kind of like Harman adjacent.
Yeah, with a few
Yeah.
changes. A little bit more forward in the mid bass, more.
Bit more forward as well.
The original has cutouts that smash mine occasionally. This is getting more
Oh,
confusing the more he speaks.
okay.
Anyone try the new Atom Audio closeback? No, but we
I saw
probably
measurements of
should.
that. It looks pretty
Yeah,
good.
Does
it
it?
looks all
Well,
right.
I mean, it looks
Yeah.
like Bayer Dynamic plus plus.
Oh, I don't know about that. It looked much more reasonable than that.
No. I'm talking about the with the shape of the dip in the low mids and then the shelf.
Oh, I mean that's just a closeback headphone. Like
yeah, like it's a common thing. Yeah,
all kind of do that.
yeah.
Has anybody with like actual measurement
Cami
gear
has a
measured it?
45 CA and measured it.
Yeah.
If you go to
Wait, Cami has a full
swig.link,
45 CA
45 CA 10.
loaded.
I think they got it for cheap on
okay.
British eBay.
Okay.
Could be wrong. Why is it, do you guys think that IAMs need such high bass shelves to sound natural? Well, back when IEM mid ranges were much more colored and IEM low treble was much more colored, you needed more bass to balance that. You just did. And like it worked.
Harmon.
Like a
Harmon.
lot of people liked those IEMs that had that kind of coloration because like it was balanced. But now we have much more natural mid range and low treble, and we just don't need that amount of bass to balance them. Yeah.
So the question here assumes a false premise. Like we say, we don't actually need IEMs to have that high bass shelves to sound natural. In fact, that's the opposite.
Well, we did when we
But we
when
don't
we had
anymore.
yeah, we don't anymore.
Maybe.
And it's not that you don't need a bass boost. It's just that, you probably don't need the amount of magnitude you needed when you were balancing out
The ear gain.
spectral colorations that were present previously.
Yep. Well, for the average person, I mean, like the other side of it is like maybe for people for whom their HRTF would be brighter anyways. It would be less of a. This is less of a problem.
And that's also not to say that like if you like bass, like you shouldn't have your bass. Like it's more that if you do want a really bass forward signature, like you want a 10 decibel shelf, unironically, you might be better served by something with a different approach to mid range than the meta stuff, like honestly, Crin's older target. I actually think that like hump in the 1 to 2 kilohertz balances a ton of bass much better than the other approaches to mid range, like Harmon or like the new meta stuff does.
Yeah, I like bass.
I like enough bass to have my fundamentals properly represented.
But actually, this is one of the reasons why the Volume S was so interesting, because it kind of revealed, as much as I didn't like the rest of the tuning, it revealed like what a really nice bass profile can be, to give you that sort of like really good sense of impact, physicality. It had a lot of bass too, but it wasn't this sort of like slow, kind of like poofy. I say that's kind of the wrong word, but like this sort of like,
no,
yeah,
Poofy's a good
you,
one.
you, you know what I mean, right?
I
Like this kind of slow, enveloping, kind of sludgy bass. So
yeah, but part of that was the fact that it had the more forward kind
yeah,
of old style of upper mid
yeah.
range tuning.
Thing is, there are so many IMs that I like where the bass is not the way that I want it to be. Like, and so that's why I'm enthusiastic about the next sort of step there for improving IEM tunings with respect to bass.
I feel like that's the next frontier. Like we've done a really good job of kind of getting people to understand why the mid range and maybe the lower treble kind of approach is what it is. It's just kind of about getting the rest of it to meet that. I think we can move on to the next topic.
Sure. Yeah.
So the next topic is, what release would actually excite you most if it happened? So like say a headphone comes to market, what would you be like the most hyped about of any possible situation?
I have a fairly straightforward answer to that. I have two answers. Number one is a sports IEM that is tuned like the AirPods Pro 2.
I feel like that's
like a sports TWS. I mean, I should
probably pretty attainable.
Yeah, it's not
good.
that far out of the realm of possibility. Like, or like tuned at least as well as the AirPods Pro 2. Like, an ideal one could be even better, right, as far as the treble is concerned. But you get what I mean. The second one is an over-ear ANC product that actually is tuned well. I mean, there are some that are okay, but there isn't anything like the AirPods Max that has leakage compensation that is well tuned, and is ergonomic. That's what I'm looking for, right? Like there are other ones that some have leakage compensation, but they're tuned like ass, and then there's other ones, that are unergonomic that are tuned better. You get what I mean? So whatever the nexus of good is there for all those things in over-ear noise canceling headphones, because that doesn't exist yet. And my third pick there would be, the IEM thing that we just talked about, new meta. Well, the new meta, right? Like JM1 without this unhinged levels of bass and
without the sludge and the sparkle.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I'm thinking about this. The thing that would make me the most excited would be a closed headphone that actually looked good, and I don't mean visually, but, like, something that was not 500 grams, had a decent looking FR. I actually believed I would get that FR in situ,
Mm.
and preferably didn't cost $1,000,000. Like, if someone came out with a really good $600 to $800 closed back, they would have
S-
my money.
So like a positionally consistent close back, because you're obviously gonna have to deal with issues of like glasses and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'd want something that has a low acoustic impedance as is viable, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there
Yeah.
are different approaches you can take to a closed back design. Beyond that, honestly, just more flagships that are not incredibly obese,
Mm.
like more stuff in the high end price point. And again, if it's going to be there, it has to compete with the HD800 and the few other good headphones up there. But stuff that is up there and isn't 400 grams. I mean, I'd
Hmm.
love to see something that was like 290 if we could.
Oh, this is why you like the Composer, because that was
Yeah,
pretty
no,
lightweight.
exactly. Well, the Composer is ergonomic. The Composer is a rare example of a company doing what I think is a pretty good idea of a high end headphone. It's just that it really doesn't do that much to differentiate itself while the HD800 exists.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, you might, someone might prefer it, but the price gap is real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone in chat has a take that is truly one of the takes of all time.
What is it?
Fornanka wants a 490 Pro, but made of wood, sounds warm with great bass and superior mids and nice treble.
Made of wood is my favorite part of that.
Yeah, no, that was the one where I was like, um,
uh,
interesting. Yeah,
I mean, some
and
people would say the 490 Pro is already all of that except for the wood. So,
yeah.
yeah,
like,
no, I think that they want a wood 490 Pro.
yeah, I wouldn't say that that's what 490 Pro is. I would also like a 490 Pro with, uh, better bass and mids and treble. Um, I
the
mean,
the
no, like
last thing is
it's
the
the
same
headphone
with
I'm wearing
Andrew.
right now because it's comfortable. Like
Very comfortable.
I do actually very much like this headphone platform. It's just
It is the
not the
best
sound
headphone
I
platform
would go for.
for, especially for obviously, yeah, you could talk about like the HD800 and stuff like that, right? But for low acoustic impedance and yada yada. But as far as a headphone platform in the like $400 ish price range or whatever it's at, that is the correct headphone platform.
Yeah,
The
it's
only last one I wanted to say is that you were dead right about the a big ANC over ear.
Yeah.
what do you mean?
No,
Who's gonna
no,
make that?
Andrew. That's the last thing I want on my I would be excited about this wish list is a well-tuned ANC over ear that is actually over ear.
And leakage compensation or some sort of,
Yeah,
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 I
yeah.
would sort of include that. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, I just didn't want to sorry cutting in, but I wanted to make sure I got that
Not
in
cutting you
before you
off.
started.
Who do you
No, you're
think could make? Who do you think is going to be the first company that makes that? Like, is it going to be the
I
next
don't
thing
think
from
it's going to
Apple?
happen.
Okay, well that's sad.
good.
No, because
uh,
the thing is, you have so much more potential for leak, and and frankly, it's so much harder to make the noise isolation high at high frequencies when you're doing it that way. I just
mm.
don't think it's going to happen. I would love it to happen, but
Oh, you're
I'm
talking about
not at
the
all
close
sold.
back thing.
Yeah, the
Yeah, yeah,
well, the
sorry. Yeah,
ANC. Yeah,
yeah. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
yeah. I'm not sold that that's going to be a thing that ever happens, but I would love it.
Yeah.
um, for me, I would actually really like a very open, large diaphragm planar with normal mid range and not stupid treble.
Not what I would have expected from you. Oh, so you mean like something that has like
Just a very leak tolerant design that I could throw on and use without EQ that didn't have terrible ergonomics.
well, okay. Did you get a chance to try that FT7?
I didn't. I know from looking at it that would
You're
not
not going to be
have
a fan of the mids or the
or
treble.
the treble or the bass. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, but I see why you would bring it up as an option that might be
Because it's
close.
it's actually it's a double. Well, it's a I believe it is double sided, but it's also a lot more ergonomic than most of the planars that come
Mm.
out.
Yeah, I mean, look, if the Cosmo wasn't quite as recessed in the upper mid range and
Yeah.
bass, like that would just be it. And I would like pay Capra to make a new chassis for me or something like that, so I could actually wear it.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so that would get me really excited. Because frankly, there are still issues I have with the HD 800 that I feel like I wouldn't have as much with a planar design. If the ergonomics actually came up to compete. Um, Another headphone I would be very excited about, kind of close to what you guys are saying, like a leak tolerant closed back, whether via the use of active electronics to kind of actively compensate for that or whatever. Um, the ANC is not a huge factor for me. It doesn't need to have that. It would
Mm.
be nice if it did, but yeah, I do just want something where I know what I'm getting under 2 kilohertz. Um, it's kind of why I want the planar design too in the open back. Um,
See, you
and
know
then
what
last,
people want? People want
what's up?
from us. People want us to say, "I want something with the detail of a Stax with the timbre of an HD 600."
Okay, you'll never get that because the FRs are too
It's
different. But
yeah, mutually exclusive.
okay, Scott Pledger, I'm gonna have to say that's actually one of the most overrated of the last year. Actually, if we're going back to the topic, the most overrated headphone of last year is every single Peerless headphone that came out.
Were they overrated
I
though?
love
Every
I
single one.
love that
Every
I
single one.
love that Douglas just showed up in chat just in time for you to say that. I mean, that was really just the very moment he's here, the elbow drop. God
I brought it
damn.
up because Scott brought up the Juan phone, and I really
Oh,
think,
okay.
oh
Um,
god,
I have the Murph here actually. I like the way the Murph sounds.
Murph.
the
Yeah,
Murph is like the
it's
only one I haven't heard.
it's. I mean, okay, this is like I'm talking about my subjective here, not how it measures
Yours
necessarily.
also
But like,
looks different than the one I measured at the
yeah,
show.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's got a little bit less. It's less bass and low mids, right? Like it's
Yeah, yeah, it's
not quite
less
as.
very warm.
Yeah,
Yours looked very balanced actually. So if
yeah.
that's like the production tuning,
It sounds
that's
good. It's one of the better Peerless 50 millimeter headphones out there. I would put it up against like I would personally take it over like the Borealis, and I'm trying to think what the other good ones would be. But yeah, interesting design to it as well.
everyone in chat saying they like the Sierra. Yes, that's why I chose it as overrated.
Uh,
I also haven't heard Satyr 3. Satyr 3 actually probably does look like the tuning that
oh
would
right,
like
I
be
haven't heard
best
that one
for me.
either.
Um, did I just call Meze 105 AR overrated? No,
Oh,
but I will now. It's overrated.
yeah, that might
I
be a good
mean, I
candidate
don't
for it.
know how it's
Yeah.
rated, but if it's rated at
Yeah,
all
I don't
positively, it's overrated.
I don't hear many people talking about that, but anyway.
That's
Yeah.
good.
But sorry, the what was the last thing I was talking? Oh, the last thing that would actually excite me if it was released would be a extremely well vented passive IEM with the tuning we were talking about. So kind of what you
Nice.
said, but just adding the considerations to acoustics
Yeah.
that I think
Wow.
would make a better product in more ways than just the graph.
No hype. No hype for sports IAM.
No, AirPods Pro 2 does
Does
fine
it
for
for
me
you?
for that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because,
Which
yeah,
is fine.
again, that's like one of the best fitting IEMs I've ever used, and it's very secure in my ear, where I
Yeah.
think that's not so for you.
Not no, I mean it's okay. It's fine. It's just when running or whatever. It's that's the thing that's gonna I'd worry about.
Sam Cooper isn't happy that we said the 105 is bad.
Oh, does he like it?
Yeah, he's okay with it.
Okay, like the 105, like initially, the first version that I heard was really bad. The one that I got in was nowhere near as bad, but it was still not competitive.
No, I feel like if you have a 4 kilohertz peak, you are dead to me.
What do you mean? Oh,
Okay, I
what
don't
was that?
agree that it's
Someone's
not
buzzing my
bad,
door,
though.
and that never happens.
No,
I
no, it
wonder.
is it is not a good
Hold on, be right back.
sounding like if you put it up against anything else in its price range, I don't think it like the good stuff in its price range, I don't think it wins, right? But you guys didn't hear what it was before that. So they made some meaningful improvements to bring
I
things
mean,
in
it's really
line.
sad to me though because like that broke
It's
like a string of Meze getting better
yeah.
in terms of
Well,
tuning by
it
release.
is ergonomic, right? I actually
Hmm.
think that the issue is more to do with the pads than whatever else is going on there. And if they went with a different pad design, because I've swapped a ton of pads around to it, and I've been able to get better responses. Not ideal responses, but better. So
Okay, Andrew, do you have band powers in the chat?
I do. I do. Who am I banning?
The guy who wants to talk about transcendental idealism.
No. Why would I ban this person?
He
Uh,
deserves to be banned for bringing up anything transcendentalist.
and yet, um, I mean, you experience the world. You're able to talk about cause and effect, even if you don't agree with it. The filter is real. The filter of time and
Transcendental.
space.
I think that the fact that Emerson, when he was living by the fucking lake, had his mother come and do his laundry was the thing that perfectly summarized transcendentalism to me.
uh, okay, here we go.
Sorry,
What's
Thoreau, not
yeah, yeah,
Emerson.
yeah.
Emerson was the
Get a package.
but yes, Thoreau did have his mother come and do his fucking laundry during the fucking period which inspired Walden.
What do you guys? Oh no,
So
were we
Scott
talking about
asks
transcendentalism
Andrew
right now?
transcendental,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, no,
transcendental,
no,
yeah,
no, 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 no,
transcendental.
no.
Andrew and Blaine, what's your biggest regret in the hobby? That's a good question. Bringing us
Oh, that's
back.
a good question. Actually, can we just do a little round? Everyone go around and say their biggest regret in this hobby.
The hobby.
No cop outs. Real
Okay.
answers. Come on.
Um, biggest like biggest regret hiring Blaine. No.
Did you
You
hire
didn't
me?
hire me, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, but I was the
You
I
did push
whispered in
for it.
the ear, yeah. No, that was probably one of the best things.
Yeah,
Let's
if we're doing
see.
that, I'd say hiring Griffin.
You didn't hire me.
I mean, I did push pretty hard for
Yeah,
hiring
you
I
yeah,
know
you.
you
exactly.
did.
Yeah.
I know you both did. Thank you.
Griffin is a Blaine is an Andrew tailing and Griffin is a Blaine tailing.
Don't like
Yeah.
that
Now the
phrasing.
person. Now the person I try to
Fine.
get us to
Blaine
hire is
is
going
the
to be a
Andrew
mistake.
off gassing and Griffin is
So stupid.
okay, biggest regret. Now is it are we talking things that we've purchased or things that
No, just pick anything, dude. Like
okay.
we've done a lot of things in this hobby. I'm actually having a little bit of trouble because I feel like everything that led me to where I am now is like good. I'm glad those things happened and I am where I am now.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
would say I have one. So when we initially did that video on say goodbye to the Harmon target, uh the video I still stand by was it was a worthwhile thing to do. But what we proposed there of tilting DF was not at the right it didn't start at the right frequency, right? It started at like I want to say like 200 hertz or something like that. I can't remember exactly. So that looks from a visual perspective, like the graph looked really weird. Um, so I'd say that like not having that more well fleshed out before putting that public, um, because then I think also the DF tilt thing. I mean, it took off also more so probably as a result of Kryn initially getting the 4620, and then that was sort of the default tilt that he used, and then he put the base shelf as the tilt plus boost. I think he put that
I think
even lower
actually
frequency.
the like either at the same time or a little bit before that, a lot of Squiglink sites ended up doing a DF tilt thing as like
No,
a
no, they
new.
did that because Kryn did it.
Yeah. So we were the original progenitors behind, and so we will take the blame. I'm just saying that. That's why I'm saying this of the tilted DF, right?
This was
And I
before I worked for the company, by the way,
yes,
everyone.
and I know, and this concept did originate from Blaine. Of
It
course,
did.
Blaine then changed to wanting it to be fully flat calibrated to DF
Well, no, let's be
No, no,
clear.
no. Yeah.
My initial position, and you can find me saying this before I worked with headphones.com, was that we should just compensate to DF. I basically wavered in that position to saying that we could do the tilted
Yeah.
thing. And I
Well, yeah,
regret that.
because you generated the graphs for me to use in the in the
Yeah,
video.
I know.
But anyway, so we were the original minds behind the idea of
Patient
tilt.
zero.
Yeah, patient zero. And there was still merit in understanding it in terms of tilt, right? To a certain
Yeah.
extent.
And there was still merit in terms of saying goodbye to the Harmon
Yeah,
target.
yeah, totally, all of that. But I think the problem there is we didn't put enough guardrails around the idea of using it as a target. In fact, we indicated using it as a target, and I'd say that is probably where the regret lies for me.
Yeah, I feel that. I do think that video is a net positive, if only because Sean gets so much use out of it,
He
though.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sean loves bringing that up.
Yeah.
Always to dunk on us, but we always deserve it. So
I
Yeah,
suppose
no,
the
I mean,
second regret that I have is not supplying Sean with the targets that we wanted tested myself,
that's
and instead relying on
actually,
Blaine to send
yeah.
the mislabeled one.
Yeah.
Well, but also I would say, like, just in terms of the dialogue with Sean, the fact that I didn't know that he was going to do those studies to test for ear gain, because it was never about testing Harmon with ear gain specifically, or like with an ear gain filter. It was about testing essentially Lorho when bass and treble are fixed at a tilt. That's what I wanted him to try, to see if you already controlled for bass and treble, what, like, as a bass to treble delta, what would people want for ear gain, not what would people want for ear gain in the presence of Harmon.
I don't think he tested it in the presence of Harmon. He tested it when people were
No,
moving bass and
he
treble.
gave people the option to test all three, which effectively resulted in Harmon.
so I'd like to
What?
point
No, it
out, by
didn't.
the way,
Kind of.
What do you mean? You mean the unpublished MOA study?
The one that's the one that is testing for whether if there's merit in a 3 kilohertz adjustment, which basically have found that
Yeah,
there's
the
no
most
merit there.
recent one that wasn't published as a paper yet.
Yeah.
That did not result in anything even closely resembling Harmon.
No, so like that one resulted in a slightly different, like a different knee to the
Honestly,
bass shell.
what it resulted in is probably closest to a 10 decibel slope.
It actually resulted in something I think looks pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah.
But my point was more that it still resulted in people adjusting bass and treble filters, and it just meant that 3 kilohertz bit was included in the treble filter. That's what I'm saying, Harmon, as far as like the adjustment points that they.
Yeah.
But it wasn't what I wanted him to test, and I didn't know that he was going to do that. So I feel like if we'd had a better dialogue, we would have been able to, come up with some sort of methodological thing that would have more closely fit with trying to test that. But anyways,
I'd like to point out that the guy who I told you to ban for being a transcendentalist has just said, I researched a shit ton of philosophy and realized Schopenhauer's essay on women is pretty based.
so now you want me to ban him again?
I mean, I'm not going to push for ban. I already have said that we should ban him for being a transcendentalist. I'm just saying this is what happens when you allow transcendentalism.
Transcendentalists.
I can absolutely ban people for being transcendentalists.
They're saying it's a joke. No, we shouldn't.
I'm not a Kantian.
All right, you know what? No, he's winning. He's winning me back.
Now I'm going to ban him for not being a Kantian.
Jesus Christ. Okay. People here and people in chat, no philosophy.
Okay, but
At least while
Wittgenstein is
I am on
okay
the
because
screen.
Wittgenstein relates to audio.
No, stop. Bad.
So
hold on. I'm still trying to think of my regret. Like I feel like my regret has to be probably something to do with like
quitting guitar.
The amount of time I spend helping people that aren't worth it.
Yeah.
Like I've spent a lot of time trying to educate or otherwise assist people with audio that just do not do anything good or productive with that.
Well, you also engage in good faith with people who are not engaging in good faith.
Sometimes,
like you are basically like you're being like you're trying to be like maximally helpful to people who just want to tear you down.
This is something that unites Griffin and I actually historically.
Oh yeah, absolutely, with Blaine as well. Like,
no, I think I'm pretty sure I have what I like. I have an overarching thing and a bunch of specific examples of my thing. My big regret is that I didn't learn more about audio before I started trying to do it. Before I
Mm.
started opining on it online, before people, for some god awful reason, started trusting me.
Oh, so your biggest regret is
Um,
being wrong
Sorry.
or
R
being
Zero's message in chat is very funny to me.
this
This
hobby
hobby swings
swing.
like a pendulum backward and forward between pain and
um
boredom.
so Blaine, your regret
True.
is about the responsibility of your basically, yeah, like your sort of like social responsibility and
Yeah,
social and
well,
professional
and
responsibility.
not even just that, because like there are things where if I had been more cautious, oh God, Somafolk just brought up transcendentalism again.
No, don't let him. Just keep
um,
keep saying what you're saying.
Ignore and move on. No, but it would have been better for me as well if I had taken more time and read more of the primary lit before I was trying to do things with it. I mean, like you guys have got to keep in mind, I am older in this
Old.
hobby than either of you.
You are very old.
Um,
Wizened.
s- well, yeah. So like, I was teaching people to make earless flat plate couplers because I was the first guy who documented that there were problems with earless flat plate couplers
So
after.
you were responsible for the foil in Jude's videos on couplers and measurement systems.
No, that's Marv. Marv is
Oh,
actually responsible, and I was at that time
okay.
already trying to explain to people why that was a problem, but I absolutely went along with that because I didn't know any better and I didn't really think through and I didn't look at any of the primary lit. And there were a lot of just examples like that. The thing with the slope thing is a good example. Um, there's been a million opportunities to do better, and I feel like a lot of them I just sort of didn't prep as much as I should have for things. So I'm hoping that
uh,
I know that we can only move forward, and I'm trying to get
for
better
now.
always.
Out of curiosity, how did your guys' trajectory go with the research, like with all the literature? Did you guys start with reading the Harmon work and then move back towards like H&M and Teal and the rest of the stuff, or did you start with H&M and move to?
That's pretty much how it went for me. I started by asking Blaine to send me Harmon things, and then I asked Blaine to send me other things. And then I went and reread the Harmon things and then reread the other things. And then by the time I had reread those two groups, like maybe like Harmon and then like Teal, H&M and stuff, maybe like 2 or 3 times over and felt marginally confident in the read, then I started exploring on my own.
Yeah, it's for me it was a bit more fragmented because again, that was in the era before like I started reading about this stuff shortly after the second Harmon paper was published. Um
Mr. President, another Harmon paper has been published.
yeah, no, but
Jesus Christ.
for a lot of us in that era,
Uh,
we obviously weren't AES members by and large. Like I didn't get a membership until I think
hmm.
2016 or 2017. Um, so we were basically relying on what was available for free, what we heard from Tile Hertzens, and what Sean put out there, which wasn't a ton in that period. And on top of that, I did, I'd Google things and try to figure out how things worked a bit. But so for me, I think for anyone, it really starts with Harmon because the Harmon stuff is the most important shit
Mhm.
that's happening in like this century.
And
Um,
importantly, builds off of a lot of the stuff that came before it in a way that, reading the Harmon stuff does kind of give you the primer of where the current state of things are, for better or worse.
yeah, I would agree. Um, but yeah, I think that everyone starts with something in the Harmon stuff and then meanders back to more Harmon and then gets into the other stuff. In my case, I did the other stuff a little earlier just because the Harmon stuff was paywalled and the other stuff wasn't.
Hmm.
And I mean, I know people who were into this stuff before Sean's first paper. And they obviously were much more into Hammershoy and Muller's stuff. So that was something that was influential as well.
On the standardization of FR from Teal was the first real thing I read. Wow, that's
I mean, to be clear, like
impressive.
after reading that, I felt that way. Like I felt like that was the
Yeah,
first
I know what you mean.
real thing I
I know
read.
what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
Like reading the Harmon papers, it's like yes, you were reading the results of a bunch of listening tests and a bunch of conclusions that they're drawing from it, and how to run headphone listening tests and stuff like that. But the Teal paper is the first one where you go like, oh,
Well,
this has changed the way I think about
and
sound.
also, yeah, and also the references in Teal. Like if you you can keep
Yeah,
going in that
extremely
direction,
important.
and it's
Yeah.
fascinating with it, all the rest of them in there. Um,
I think
and,
what's an interesting distinction is that Teal is someone who proposes a theoretical model and also ways to test it, whereas Sean is almost universally a hard empiricist.
mhm, yep,
Yep. I gather data. This is data.
yep. Um, yeah, I think a big thing for I agree with Blaine about like the paywall being kind of like a barrier for getting into some of the science, some of the literature that exists.
I mean,
I mean,
it's only like
it's not a paywall,
200
but
bucks.
for a lot of people who are just tangentially, like they're wanting to learn about this stuff, but they're not wanting to learn more than an HD6XX would benefit them. So, they're going to read the free shit, and in that sense, I can understand somebody ending up with the Alborg papers or the or Teal's stuff first because it's free,
Yeah, and I
and
mean it's good.
yeah, it's great.
If
I
if
think.
people actually read it, it's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree.
Oh, this is a good question in chat. New stream viewer here. Welcome, Alec. Is there any headphones where you did a 180 after first impression, for better or worse?
The DCA stealth.
Wait, you
Interesting.
like it now?
No, my first impression was a lot more positive.
Huh.
Mm,
I would say usually my perspectives they start more positive, um, because I'm not. Well, it's what it is. It's like if I have a really good experience with something from a first impression, it's often because I've only listened to like one or two songs with it, or like heard one or two recordings, and then the more it takes a bit for me to realize what the flaws are because I need to go through the exhaustive stuff, and then I realize okay, there's some issues here, right? Or start to EQ and I realize where there's deficiencies.
Yeah, I'm thinking like it's been a long time since I had a 180. When I was new, pardon me. When I was new, pretty regularly I would get something, be hyped up about it, and then realize, no, this actually kind of sucks. And I think that's a common thing for people who are newer in the hobby. Nowadays, even in the last 5 years, I can't think of anything where I was like, this sucks to, yeah, no, this is good. The closest is probably the HD 600. Like the HD
Mm.
600 did not make a good first impression on me. And nowadays, it's fine, right? Like I went from I don't like it to it's fine.
Well, out of curiosity, when what is a good first impression for you? Like, what is it about the set? Like, do you just think preference, or is there a specific kind of like quality that makes you go, "This is a good"?
So nowadays, I think that I've been thinking a lot about this ever since Douglas gave me those weird Sonys that have the wonky FR.
Mm,
Because my first impression of those was positive, and I still do like them, but obviously they're not exactly a compliant FR.
mhm,
Um, but no, I think a lot of it is that the mids need to have a certain shape. I'm really not a fan of forwardness above 1K. Um, the treble needs to not have giant wide gulfs because that fucks with the timbre of strings.
mhm.
And I listen to a lot of stuff that has acoustic strings. Um, and from there, it's like if you get the general shape of the mids and the treble not being a roller coaster, right? I am surprisingly tolerant for a first impression. It's then that I start drilling into okay, what bugs me about this, you know? Although most things do not pass that first vibe check.
Yeah.
Got it. The only one I can really think of for me is the Sony MDR MV1. When I first had heard that headphone, I had tested it with particularly bright music and was immediately turned off because it can be pretty bright. And then I put it away, didn't listen to it for, a while, and then dug it back out and listened to it with more of my music. And I think it gets the bass and the mid range very right for a consumer tuning. Um, and I think because of the nature of how and where that treble elevates on that headphone, I think other people might find it less of a problem for than I do, and than I would. Um, I know like Android who tends to prefer a brighter sound overall, and I kind of hypothesize he just has like either a brighter HRTF or a darker typical on-head response. He really likes the MV1, and I think for people who like really like the Hi-Fi Man headphones, for example, I actually think an MV1 would work really well for them and be kind of more
Uh,
fun
it
and
has a bass
still
profile that's like
mid-range
really,
compliant.
yeah. I can see it as well.
Yeah. Like it's basically a flat tilt from
Flat
like
tilt for
20
the bass.
hertz to
Yep.
like 3 kilohertz.
Yeah.
But it's like it's very HRTF compliant, which is great. It just has a lot of treble, so you kind of have to
Yep.
know that.
So, sorry, what was Andrew's?
Oh, I think it was DCA Stealth, but I mean, there's probably lots where I have that kind
So,
of.
two of us turned positive, and one of us turned negative,
No,
right? Because
I
Griffin,
turned negative. I turned.
that's
Oh,
what I'm.
okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just, that's interesting. I would have expected us to all be negative, or maybe all be
Well,
positive
like, and this
because
is the
we're
thing
so
is like,
negative to
I
start out
wouldn't
with.
I wouldn't necessarily say that I thought it was a bad headphone afterwards, right? Like I would say, like it's just that the issues were more revealed to me the more time I spent with it. I would
Yeah.
still I would still say it's better than like many other headphones that are like trashed here.
I wonder what role measurements have to play in that. Like, because for me, the MV1, like, I expected it to be
Oh, for your
fairly
expectations?
bright, and I think
Yeah.
that was confirmed in that initial listening. Um, like
Well,
it was confirmed by my bias in that
but
initial
here's the
listening.
thing: with the stealth, it doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense because it measures quite well. It's just that the AMTS thing wasn't propagating it for me quite the way that it was measuring.
Well, no,
If
I think
anything, the
it's the same.
measurements.
I think it's the same thing where like
No, I
you
didn't know
knew
how
it.
it measured.
You
No,
oh,
I
you
had
didn't.
no
Oh,
idea.
okay,
No,
okay, okay.
because I got it in
Never mind.
before measurements got. I published the same day that embargo lifted, right? But I got the headphone in before that, and I hadn't measured it yet. So I filmed my initial first impressions video, and it was a lot more positive.
Mm,
Um, and
Oh, right. I remember that.
yeah, and then spent more time listening to it and realized there is quite a bit of stridency for me there
a lot of
than what
people
the
saying
measurements
they think the
indicate.
MV1 deserves more love. It didn't come out in 2024 though, so
It's a good
No,
headphone.
that's
I
it
had that.
is.
Yeah, for me, it definitely gave me the 6 kilohertz zappies,
for sure.
but at EQing that down, the rest of it was like really solid,
Yeah.
and it's ergonomic. It's built well. There's not much to dislike there.
Yeah.
By the way, can we have a wall of shame for a take in chat?
Okay.
Go for it.
Dennis Alarkin says, "What's the purpose of knowing about the research if not to gaslight yourself from a good experience or to gaslight yourself into learning to appreciate bad audio?"
Yeah, that's why we research. That's why we bother to get into the research. It's why the science is done, actually, is to make it so that we all have worse experiences.
Yeah, generally speaking, I try to gaslight myself at least once a day.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That, yeah.
I think it's good to have a little bit of doubt about your experiences. Perception is very fickle.
No, but like this is this is the person who just goes full placebo pill on whatever, right? Like like
Mm,
well, if you're gonna if you're gonna basically say that anytime you're reflexively analyzing or scrutinizing your experiences, right? Like in some capacity, you are necessarily making them worse. because now you like understanding the cause is a catalyst for having worse experiences than if you were to just, you know, have the experience.
Hmm. I love how everyone in
It's
chat is just saying how they need gaslighting.
yeah, no, I mean, we've learned that we have a lot of gatekeeping girl bosses in our chat.
Fuck yeah.
But no, I mean, what's funny to me about that one though, and I do just want to get on my high horse for a second here because I often do the oh well, you know, people having a good placebo thing isn't bad bit, and it isn't, right? It isn't bad if someone has a placebo effect that makes them happy. However, audio nervosa is so much more common than that.
Well,
The
I don't know,
number of
man.
times I've seen people who are like, "Oh, I need to get this next thing to make my system sound better. It isn't as good. You know, it could be, it
Yeah,
should
but
be better. This isn't
so
realistic."
if you're going to have that nervosa, you may as well apply it to the things that are actually going to improve your experiences.
Well, in that case, research can actually take
Yeah,
away quite a lot of the things that will detract from your enjoyment.
100%. So this gets to something that Aaron mentioned like a little bit ago, which is wouldn't you want to know? Like and that's kind of where I'm at with it, which is like if you could have a better experience, wouldn't you like if you could figure out like, you know, the this is why you were having this experience. Wouldn't you want to know?
Some people don't.
I feel like my experience is not at all negatively impacted by the knowledge of what its cause is.
But the thing is, people think you're gaslighting yourself into not hearing the improvements of amps now.
Oh,
So from
because
their
I've done
point of
the
view, yeah, from their point of view, you have gaslit away an entire thing that you could enjoy.
so basically, yeah, but even along that line of thinking, it just means that I gaslit the placebo of or whatever, right? Of or I gaslit
Well, they
volume
think it's
mismatch.
real.
No, I get that they think it's real, but that's the problem. If you go, this line of thinking is internally inconsistent. It doesn't make any sense. Because if you're saying you gaslit away your experience because it was placebo in the first place, then that still means that it wasn't actually a genuine experience other than for the placebo. Like it still means there
Maybe
was no
they
acoustic difference
well, it might be that you have a nocebo though, right? Like you could actually have a negative effect
from having done the
psychologically where
yeah, yeah.
yeah, where it's like somehow you've gaslit yourself into thinking there's no difference.
I feel like the only primer for that would be talking to you. Like I don't think that a blind ABX of some kind is going to be less, more influential there as far as like
Well, what
creating the framing
if
effects that you're not going to hear
well, hold on, let's think about this for a second. These guys have a proposed effect here, right? They say that for whatever reason in a blind A/B test, you can't differentiate these otherwise apparent and meaningful differences.
Mhm.
In that scenario, somehow the flaw of this test has led you to gaslight yourself into believing that these apparent and easily perceived
Yeah, but
differences don't
often
exist.
so oftentimes the I don't know if this is gaslighting, but basically the scrutiny that gets applied there in that line of thinking is something about your test is ruining the very real, genuine effect. And we'll even go as far as to say it's not just the fact that you're testing this, but rather the equipment that you're using or something about your switching thing is homogenizing it or whatever. It's like it's summing or whatever, right? Um, but like if you let's say you remove that element of it, I kind of have a hard time with the idea that like if you can perfectly say like no equipment is involved and you can perfectly have the experience of one amplifier and perfectly have the experience of another amplifier with the volume match and all the same controls that you would ideally want. I have a hard time imagining what psychologically would be driving you to think that you are not going to be experiencing a difference over the priming that you know there is a difference here, and and this test will reveal it. You know, like
I mean,
I suppose the only thing there would be like to say that well, once you're in the blind test camp, those people you're talking to are the kinds of people who are going to lead you to believe that there is no difference, and that's why you're looking to discredit. So that's what you're trying to you know identify here. And but the funny thing with all of that is that I didn't feel like when I was doing the blind test, I didn't feel necessarily that, you know, across the devices that I did test, that there was necessarily no difference when I was doing it. I felt that, I was struggling to identify a difference. And as a result, my conclusion was that I don't care, right? Um,
A
to
very
the
fence-sitting opinion.
I don't even think it is, because like my opinion on this is, and I've talked about this before, it's that I don't think that I would have been able to correctly get the results. Say like you sat me down and had me do 20 runs. I don't think that I would be able to score a statistically significant amount, for the positive. Um, and so in that respect, I mean, I think I got like 6 out of the 10 runs that I tried correct, but that, like, I don't think that would have been sufficient, right? And so that's why I sort of concluded that, like it might not have been statistically significant to indicate that there was a difference, but when I was doing the tests, I still felt like, oh, maybe there's a difference here, maybe there's a difference there, and that's why I chose the ones that I chose. Right? It wasn't just me being like, oh, I can't hear a difference, so I'm going to randomly pick. I still felt maybe there's a difference here. It's just that I was wrong almost half the time. Right? So after having that knowledge, it revealed to me, okay, there's really no reason to care about this stuff.
We got a couple more questions in chat, should we so desire.
Yeah.
What are they?
Henri says, at Resolve, why does your with EQ tier list have kilobuck headphones? Surely
With
there's no
EQ
need to
tier.
spend a lot of money if you're going to EQ.
There's a good answer for this. First of all, there isn't. Yeah, you can have uh, less expensive. Pardon me, less expensive headphones. Where you don't need to EQ. Uh, the inclusion of kilobuck headphones, that's how I'm going to phrase it, is because some of them do a very good job of HRTF adherence and positional consistency above a certain frequency threshold, where it is much harder to do personalized EQ. So it's less about overall EQ potential, right? Being excursion limited or something like that, because you can do that with just about every headphone. You can EQ as long as it's not causing it to clip or something like that. It's about ease of EQ. And that's kind of where, like for me, the goodness of sound above a certain frequency threshold, um not having to change that is super valuable to me.
High
um
frequency EQ hard.
yeah, basically that's kind of how, uh, you know and I'm not sure that it necessarily tracks with, I assume this is like referencing the one that I posted on the forum, right? Or something along those
Yeah,
lines,
like
right?
the
Yeah, like
the
a long time
Wall of
ago.
Fame type
Yeah, yeah,
post.
yeah, yeah. Ones that
Yeah,
I just
yeah, yeah.
um yeah, I don't think that you can't. So my point here is like, I don't think that you can't achieve a better sound than a Susvara just by EQing Edition XS. I think you can. I think you can take it or pick whatever cheap hi-fi man with a similar shape to it. Um, I think if you get into EQ, you can get better sound than what you can get with it with the Susvara. It's just that with the Susvara, I don't have to do the fine grain shit to be able to get that. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of how I think about it.
Were there more questions, Blaine?
Yes, Michael J. Buss says,
Oh, my
building on
boy.
what Blaine building on what Blaine was saying about the HD 600, what are the essential FR features that headphones have to have right for you to consider using them long term or recommending them to others?
For myself, long term, it's almost entirely down to the treble, honestly. Like, I'm finding that as long as the mid range isn't terrible and the bass isn't terrible, the treble is really the thing that decides if I'm going to be using it long term or not in terms of FR features. That's not taking ergonomics into account, but the thing is, the criteria for recommending to another person is a little bit different. I would say price is probably the biggest factor there, actually. Um, I don't really love recommending expensive headphones just out of the
So
fact that none of them are very good.
I actually kind of have like a bit of a spicy take on this.
Go for it.
I think as far as like I don't know if this is exactly pointing to the nexus of that question or like the impetus behind that. But as far as like it relates to like recommending it to people, so much of it has to do with the aesthetics and it not looking stupid. Like
Mm, I mean, yeah,
what?
that hasn't been my experience.
No, but I'm just thinking like of for people in my life who I recommend headphones to when they're asking me like, hey, what headphones should I buy, headphone man? I recognize who I'm talking to, and I realize, oh yeah, this is a decent headphone with the essential qualification that it doesn't look stupid and is comfortable. you know,
Yeah, I don't know. I feel
like
like
I
when
wouldn't
it comes
recommend the
to
ones that
recommending to
necessarily,
people in my life, I never really consider
yeah,
looks unless it's like a really big disqualifier,
yeah, no, but
which
that's
they do
what I'm saying
exist.
is like for most of this industry, they are big disqualifiers.
Mm.
So that's why I tend to lean towards headphones like this here, the 550 or like the 600s or stuff that's like a little bit more normal, right? Because who wants to be on a Zoom call wearing a a Cosmo?
I wouldn't. I couldn't wear my hat then.
Well, yeah, yeah, but you know what I mean, right? Like people, do people even use Zoom? Like you know what I mean, right? Like people's daily lives, working from home or whatever they're doing. Um, that's a big part of it. Is not looking stupid. Um,
I have literally never wanted to not show my HD 800s on a video call.
they do
It's
they do
it's
look
an
stupid though.
interesting conversation piece. I
They
feel like
do look
HD
stupid.
800 isn't bad looking in the way a
No,
lot of
no.
audiophile headphones
It
are. So
looks
it's,
fancy and it looks
yeah.
expensive. It looks well engineered and designed, but I
So
wouldn't
what's a
say.
headphone that you would not want someone to see you wearing on Zoom?
I mean, like where do you want to start? Like the list is kind of
Honestly,
endless.
any of the Hi-Fi Man headphones with the
Yeah, they all
suspension
look.
strap and like the rectangular band over it.
The
Yeah, they are a bit
SR1A.
rough.
Could you imagine? I
Ah!
wore. Could, okay, the SR1A. Like I was in the middle of like evaluating it, and I was wearing it like to listen to it for a review, and my partner came in and saw me wearing them, and uncontrollable fits of laughter. Like could not stop laughing at how ridiculous I looked wearing that thing. you
Bringing
know?
that to LTX was one of the fun like, the
Yeah,
most fun things I have ever done in audio, because everyone asked about them.
yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
"Oh, why is it this way? Oh, they have this idea about how they should make this that's really atypical." And like, "Oh, is it good?" "No, not really. Have a listen."
uh,
People loved it, though. I mean,
Yeah,
not the
people loved it.
sound, but
That
people
but they
loved
love
how
the
weird
the
it
thing.
was.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it fits with that crowd a little bit more than, you know, I think the target audience, but yeah. No,
For
I can think of
non so, like, but for a normal closed or, like, for a normal over ear, what's something that you would not want to wear on a video call?
for a normal over ear. I mean, yeah,
Well,
most of the
something
hi-fi
that's
mans,
not a
the hi-fi
yeah.
man, the Moondrop Cosmo. Uh, I mean, even the Odyssey. The Odysseys might be an exception, but even them probably not because they are quite large.
They kind of give you
Yeah, yeah,
antennae.
yeah, exactly,
The horns
exactly.
is the big problem there.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, I would say
I
probably, yeah,
would pretty comfortably wear most of those. Not the Hi-Fi with the weird
well,
fake wood
the
paneling, though. Well, it's not fake wood, with the
there
weird
is a
wood
difference though, right? Like,
paneling.
okay, there's like for me, my threshold of embarrassment is probably not like I probably am less likely to be embarrassed by the headphones that I'm wearing than say my brother, right? Or other people in my life. And you guys probably your threshold for embarrassment is even lower than mine.
Lower or
So
higher?
well,
Higher.
it depends on which, yeah, like so basically you guys would be more comfortable wearing stupider looking things even than me. Um,
Let's drill into that characterization for a moment. What
I
would
I mean,
don't
give you
think
look
we
at
that
your
need to
hat.
drill
impression?
into
Literally
that
look at your hat.
uh,
I look stupid enough as it is. I don't need the headphones to help me with that. Um, and that is a thing. Like, so one of the reasons why I like the way that certain headphones look, where they are able to kind of like straddle that like uh classy but normal but functional kind of thing. Um, Like I like headphones, like for example the Alex, Focal Alex. Say it's a normal, it's a good looking headphone, classy looking headphone, but still not super ridiculous and esoteric looking. Like when somebody's wearing that, you think, wow, that's a nice headphone that they're wearing, but does it look like?
I actually think it makes people's heads look weird.
Wait,
I
I mean,
sorry,
even
which
this makes
headphone were you
people's heads
talking
look
about?
weird.
no,
The
it
one you're
doesn't.
wearing makes heads
It's
look weird.
much lower profile and closer to the head, whereas the focals are much more like
D
strictly
Depends how big your
semicircular.
head is. Depends how big
The
your head is.
focals have too much
No,
of a
it's the ear
helmet
cups.
effect.
It's not the band. It's like the ear cups themselves are
It's
shaped
Okay,
both.
very round.
They're too big.
Yeah.
too big. I would agree. They are too big. Okay, maybe the newer ones, like the
Yeah, you get
Azuris
like
or
Princess
something.
Leia buns when you wear them.
You do. That's true. That's fair.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I mean, there's not a ton of headphones that actually look non-dorky when you wear them that are at all comfortable. Like the problem
But
is you need so much space for your ears, and you need to have a quite compliant thing under the top of your head. So it's
this is why Sennheiser wins.
I mean
They're
the
designed to
HD,
fairly low profile.
yeah. Well, and that's because they have a really good taper for like the arc of a human head. That's one of
Yes.
those things that's so many companies fuck up.
Yeah.
Obviously, Hyphaman doesn't even try, but like so many others just do not get
but
right.
I do think, I mean, yeah, like they don't get it. Well, they don't get it right, but also it's not like it's necessarily easy to do to find that good crossover of like this is a normal looking thing that also looks and feels special upon closer inspection. You know, like, and usually they just kind of like completely forego the normal looking because that's not, they just care more about like this is gonna look special
Yeah.
and fancy, right? And that's kind of the problem. I look for extra regular in all things. The Metamucil of humor.
Someone in chat basically said pick 3 headphone companies and erase the rest. That's a fun idea.
Okay, go.
Uh,
Should we put on spicy hour now? I
Oh,
feel like it's time for spicy hour.
yeah, it
let's,
seems like
yeah,
spicy.
let's do
Yeah.
spicy hour.
Also, 3 audiophile companies or 3 companies that make
I think there's
headphones.
3
Period.
headphone companies.
Well,
That
the reason I'm
doesn't
asking is
answer the
whether I have
question.
to use one to save Bose.
Yeah, no, you will have
Yeah,
to
you
use
do.
one to save both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bose, Sennheiser. The third one is the question. Fuck. See, like I don't want it to be Hi-Fi Man, but I think it's Hi-Fi Man. And I'm really not happy about it being Hi-Fi Man.
Fair. Yeah. For me, it'd be
That's my
Apple,
3.
Sennheiser, and either Fio or Odyssey. I'm not sure which.
Okay, if I don't pick Apple, does Apple stop existing as a company in the world, or do they just stop
Yes.
making
Yes.
headphones?
It
Yes. You
stops
have
existing.
deleted this company from the face
So
of the
now
earth.
I mean that's a perk to
there's
me.
now a moral imperative to not pick Apple.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you gave yours, Griffin? Yours was
Apple,
10%?
Sennheiser, and then toss up between Fio and Odyssey. I don't know. Like I
Really?
feel like Odyssey's contribution to
No, Odyssey, I get.
Planars in the
Theo, I'm
future will
surprised by.
probably be more compelling, but Fio so far makes better products at better prices. So
I'm surprised by. I mean, like, okay, hold on. They've made 2. The
yeah, that's
To be
others
more
fair,
than
2 is
most headphone companies, including the ones we're talking
no,
about.
but they've also made
okay.
others
No.
that have been
Listen.
horrible.
Sennheiser has more than 2 good headphones.
Oh no,
Odyssey
I
doesn't have
wasn't
more than
including.
2 good
I meant like
headphones.
including the other ones that I'm knocking off, like
Oh yeah, no. Yeah.
like they listed like Bayer
Oh,
Dynamics, ZMF, DCA, Meze, Sony. Oh fuck, actually Sony is one. Wait, if I keep Sony, I can keep Odyssey too.
oh, there you go. That's cheating, but yes.
No, you can't actually.
I can't. Well,
No,
if I
'cause
keep
Well,
Sony
Odyssey, then I
they're
keep
Electronics.
two separate
Sony.
companies. They're two
No,
separate companies.
Sony Electronics doesn't
And
own Odyssey.
that's right.
Sony
Yeah, it's Sony
Interactive
Interactive
Entertainment does the
Entertainment.
PlayStation one.
Yep. So you're gonna keep Odyssey or Fio. Which one? How much do you love Sankar?
A fair bit.
I like him a lot. He's a
Maxwell,
nice guy.
Yeah.
MF500. You know.
I know
But they're
which one
so
I'd pick between
expensive.
those
Like,
two.
Maxwell's not expensive, but
I know which one I'd pick.
yeah,
You
I'd
actually
probably
see
go with Odyssey.
No, I would go with Theo
Why would you go with Theo?
because I like things that people can actually afford.
Maxwell's
Yeah, I
not
mean,
that
look, the
expensive.
fact that Maxwell exists, like, that is
Oh, the
something
Maxwell
that
is
most
Maxwell is
people
the
are able to
strongest
afford.
case against deleting Odyssey for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Um,
yeah. Mine would be okay. Here's good. This is gonna be spicy. My number one pick for audio company to keep, Meze.
Controversial.
Such a weak take.
Controversial.
It's like we get
Yeah,
it. You have a big head. You need your headphones to be
they make
comfortable.
headphones
Like
that are comfortable, and most companies
they
don't.
just don't sound good, dude.
So well, yeah, but there's always room for improvement there, but consistently they make headphones that are comfortable. Um,
Yeah, and they are consistently one of the brands that is most open to criticism and actually
and
like
one of some of the most well
incremental
built,
improvement, I guess.
well engineered products that exist on the market, like period.
Mechanically.
Mechanically, yeah. So like, and they are also repairable. The parts are not like obscured by weird tooling or whatever, to fix them. So Meze is definitely
No,
on
I
my list.
mean they would
Um,
be in my top 10 to save for sure. They're not
yeah,
like at the back of the line for the boat.
I
yeah.
mean, it would be in my top 10 too, but like I feel
They
like
wouldn't be in my top 3 for sure.
they absolutely would not be in my top
They're not
3.
necessarily for sound quality reasons, but remember, I EQ everything. So for me, it's like ergonomics and mechanical design. Uh, it's important. Uh,
I
so
just
yeah,
don't find them that ergo, like except for the Empyrean, but I
yeah,
don't find the other ones that
they
ergonomic.
are. If you just need to bend the headband a little bit, if you have big head problems.
Oh my
Uh,
god. I don't like having to bend steel to make it
it's
comfortable.
just a little bit. Anyways, doesn't matter. I find it comfortable. So number two would be Sennheiser for sure. Keep Sennheiser. And number three, oh man,
Oh god, mezes are also so expensive too. It's like the ones that are comfortable for me are expensive. Like none of
yeah,
the
the
like 109, 105, 99 classics ones are actually comfortable for me. They're too small on the
yeah.
cup.
Number three is damn. It's got to be something consumery, right? So number three is Grado. uh,
I think Grado is literally the one that is the last in line to get on the lifeboat for me.
yeah.
Maybe O Bravo is behind it.
Oh, these are good answers. Genelec, Kef, and Harman.
So
Oh, for
they
speaker
want us to do
companies?
speakers next,
Speakers.
and
Okay,
I
so we're
want to
just talking
do
headphones for
speakers
now.
next.
Okay, yeah,
But
yeah.
finish yours.
It's probably Bose. It's
No,
probably
that's
Bose.
very fair.
This, we should go to Bose and say you guys should sponsor this. Look, audiophiles are saying that people should buy your products.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
not audiophiles, just us.
I will
We're
say
Because
audiophiles.
if you no man, the amount of hate that I got on Headfi for saying that the Bose QC Ultra was better than the whatever the fuck the Bang& Olufsen, what I can't remember the name of it, H100. People
it's Headfi.
hated that I
It's
said that.
Headfi, dude. Who cares?
I know, but those are audiophiles, and they're not saying the Bose is better.
Well, yeah, because they're audiophiles. They don't
That's
they don't
that's what I'm
they
saying. You
don't
can't.
care about well-rounded products.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
They don't care about. I mean, I don't even know what they care about actually.
Yeah.
Yes, to
Okay.
act like
So
there is a consistent unifying principle would be an error.
Scott is surprised none of us said Harmon. I mean,
oh,
They don't
well,
make
we
good
would have said
headphones.
Harman spelled correctly.
yeah, we would have spelled
Ooh,
it correctly, but
roasted.
also like
Sorry, Scott.
JBL does a lot of good stuff. Well, yeah, JBL does a lot of good stuff, and JBL would probably be in my top 5 to save just because they do pretty reasonable amount of good products that consumers can actually afford. But like for my purposes, I want there to be a good planar company. I want there to be the company that makes the headphone I want to own, and I want there to be a good ANC company. So my list is limited by that.
Okay,
This is
now
an
get rid of 3
interesting.
companies.
This is no, but hold on. This is an
That's
interesting
so easy though.
perspective about like Pandemonium says Harman's actual headphones are mid. We just need their research. Why do you think that is?
Well, because they're too smart to waste that much money on the hi-fi
No,
space.
I know, but like, so even their
Also, most of the
high-end
headphones
stuff.
that they're like tuning to the targets that they found in their research are very cheap coupling sensitive headphones. So
So there's
like,
definitely that. That's definitely a part of it.
The question
Um,
of why, like, the question is, why aren't there high-end AKGs anymore, basically, right?
well,
Like,
just
because
why
that's the
aren't
brand
there?
that they would use
do
for
we
it.
do we really want high end AKGs?
Well, no, I mean, they wouldn't be the old ones. The question, though, is like, why doesn't Harman make a $500 or an $800 headphone that competes in the audiophile space?
Well,
And I
it's
would
not even.
legitimately be interested in talking to them about that.
It's to me, there's more sort of like a meta analysis of like we do this analysis of like their research of like, okay, this is what people liked, and we find all kinds of interesting things there, but we haven't really done a meta analysis of their products, or like the products that are meant to be sort of like tuned to Harman and how well they perform and how well they are like in the market, for example. um at least not like retroactively. Like I know we there's the one bit there about like sound is only one of the leading factors. So we know that when it comes to sales, this is not you know necessarily the thing, the main motivator there. And Taryn would sort of talk about this kind of stuff all the time, with respect to the
Okay,
things that are Harman tuned.
wait a second. I want to hear what your guys' answers would be if you could save two more. So if you could save five companies total.
Fuck me.
Yeah. Because for me, then it becomes like what companies I just have like an emotional attachment to and I like want to keep around. Because like the actual like needs are met by the others. So if I chose Odyssey, then I would put Fio as one of them. And then I would also save Sony because I have a soft spot for Sony.
With two more, I would probably save Meze. I think about the last one. Just because I want to believe that they will get as good as they have the potential to get.
Mhm.
Um, fuck. Can I bring something back from the
Scott says
dead?
headphones.com.
Can I?
Yes.
I would resurrect Phillips's headphone thing.
Oh.
Honestly,
Oh, so Wooks Electronics, the Gibson owned, Gibson guitar
Yeah.
owned manufacturer. Was it Wooks Electronic?
I
something like
think,
that.
I
yeah.
think it was. Yeah. Yeah.
But like, I loved the vision that they had with their lines of headphones. I loved how they felt. I liked the build. They were pretty comfortable. They were pretty well tuned. So I would probably reanimate the Philips headphone department as it was structured under Philips.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, because they moved away from Wooks when was it that they sold their Gibson, or yeah, I can't remember how all of that worked, but I remember they sold off the division that was responsible for the originals, which were under the Gibson brand, and then they made new ones under the Philips Fidelio brand or sub brand or whatever from a different supplier for different manufacturer, and it just wasn't the same.
Yeah. Do you want to do the? Oh wait, no. Sorry. Did you answer the two other companies you would add, Andrew?
No, it's a struggle to think. Think about what it would be. It would probably be, man. Okay, so like I would probably put Focal in there. Uh, I would
Surprised neither of
struggle.
us said Focal, but actually, maybe not that surprised.
I would struggle with Hi-Fi Man. Hi-Fi Man's a weird one to me because it's like if I'm thinking of like some of their older stuff, it's definitely Hi-Fi Man in there, right? But if then I'm thinking of like, okay, what like the newer stuff, I don't know about that. like
Yeah.
the closebacks and all that stuff. Like I'm like, At the same time, they are releasing products that people can afford or bringing prices for this same design style down.
Mm.
Like the HE or Edition XSs and whatever, right? So it's like it's polarized. It's I'm of two minds on it. But I mean, what else would I put
No,
there?
yeah, no, that's fair.
Odyssey. I didn't say Odyssey, so probably yeah. I'd probably say
Henry
Odyssey.
says we need an IEM company to save, and
An
Blaine
IM
says
company.
disagree. Yeah, I mean, for
It'd
me, it's a
probably
pretty
be
easy answer. I would save Crin's company just because my main issue with any IEM manufacturer is them just not listening to the
dude.
community at
Okay,
all and
okay.
like
They
being a
listen
completely
insofar as they
separate
think it'll
entity.
yeah, they'll listen insofar as they think it'll sell products, but they won't as far as like they won't ingest the theory at all.
Yes. They're
It,
yeah. Whereas Kryn is someone I can actually have a conversation with and discuss our ideas about what audio should be. And for one,
give
Kryn's just
him
like great to talk about with that when it
so
comes
give
to
him
that
free
stuff.
advice
But,
is what you're saying.
no, not free advice, but like
But the
actually
thing is,
discuss
he already
what we like about headphones, and
yeah
both
no
of us understand what each other is saying when it comes to why we don't like a headphone or an IE.
well, Kryn is also probably the most aware of the theory out of all of them, right? Like, or of the most like the closest
Yeah,
to the
he's
theory.
also just the most easily reachable, which is really
Yeah,
the thing that matters to me. Like,
yeah,
Also, I like him,
yeah.
yeah.
even if he
And
Also,
told
that's
me to stop doxing him on stream.
of the manufacturers I know, he's actually the least concerned with like, and this might not land for Andrew exactly, but he's actually like among the least concerned with like things like the technicalities, and like he really knows that just getting a good FR is
mhm.
very important. And more important than, you know, the gobbledygook of technological
As far
or
as putting
technical
things,
performance that people
that's
will
right.
say it
As
has or
far as
doesn't
putting
have.
things into the market, he has a very practical, sensible approach.
Yeah.
And so, even though there are tons of products that he puts out that I think sound bad,
Yeah, no,
he
same.
knows that there's a market for whatever, and
He does.
he's smart about that. The other IM company that I would choose to save is Symphonium.
I
I
would
like
not.
Felix. I like Felix and Nicole.
I consider all of them friends, but I don't I, they
If
haven't
we
put
were
out an
saving a
IM I've
company
liked in a
based on liking
while.
people from them, it would be Head.
Oh yeah, Head for sure, for
Like
sure.
Head, they're all such lovely people.
Yeah.
Like I love talking to those guys. They are not getting on the boat. I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
I mean, look,
Dimitri.
it's just part of having to deal with like
Yeah,
the AMT that is your kind of
the baby, right?
thing, like the
Yeah,
ergonomics compromises and the sonic compromises like that you have to make to do that are very
yeah,
big.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
What about speakers? What three speaker companies would we save?
I think Genelec
Genelec.
is the easiest answer.
Everyone agrees, Genelec.
Yeah. Um,
Do we put Kef in there?
I would.
I'm trying to think of like who else I would put in there that might like lop Kef off, because I've never heard a Kef speaker. I know they're designed reasonably well.
Ooh, JBL or Cali?
That's kind of the issue I'm having. Like, I want to have
The
one in there
thing
that people can actually buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, if you save Harman, you save JBL, Revel, you save all of them. So you have a quite wide range of good conventional speakers. Whereas if you save Kali, you only save studio
No,
monitors.
DMS with the bad take in
But I would
chat.
be saving a company that it seems like actually like deeply cares about like maximizing performance, like in a genuinely good design principle at low prices,
Mm.
which I'm not so sure JBL is always going to stay that way.
I mean, JBL is supposed to be a studio brand, and it's also a lifestyle brand. So it'd be surprising to me if they jacked up the prices a lot. Are you thinking that the quality
No,
will go
no,
down?
saying the speakers might get worse over time instead of the prices changing all that much.
That would be a fear. Do you know what
Yeah.
legitimately my actual thought for the third one is, though?
Hmm.
Gradient. Fuck
I
all your
actually thought you were going to say
non-coaxials.
gradient. Yeah.
My
I feel like
three would actually be Kef, Genelec, and Gradient.
Okay. Why? I
May the
you gotta
understand
have
why
Finns
one
though.
weird
inherit
pick.
the earth.
You gotta have one
Why
weird but
gradient?
good pick in there. You gotta have a meme pick in there.
Okay.
I actually do love the idea of just doing away with non-coaxial speakers, though.
This is a base take. Um, wait, actually, yeah, so that's the thing. Oh fuck. So it probably would be Genelec and it probably would be Kef. I'm having trouble with the third because I would want something that is like non-coaxial two-way, three-way type shit. For normal people who can't afford coaxial designs.
I mean, Kefs can be pretty cheap.
Mm,
Like the
like, are
Q
there cheap
series.
actives cheap? Like 300 a pair or 500 a pair?
No, they have a passive 300 a pair.
Oh yeah, like the
The cheapest
Q150.
yeah, their cheapest active I think is 700.
Man, if they could make an active version of the Q150, that would probably be so fucking dope.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's probably coming.
I hope
It's
so.
just sort of a
All right, look, I would probably go Genelec, Kef,
ironically,
and
I
then
wanted to
Ali
save a
personally.
passive speaker
It I don't think that's unreasonable, Griffin. Like I
Yeah.
think you could put Cali and JBL, interchangeably in there for like good, budget picks.
yeah, but the thing is you lose a lot of applications. I mean, with Kef, you're okay because Kef can do stuff like the in walls, the passive
Yeah,
surrounds for home theater
speakers
and
or sorry,
stuff.
the
Oh, but
ceilings and
Callies are
whatnot.
just studio monitors,
Yeah.
whereas
Yeah.
yeah, no, you're
So
not wrong.
but I get why you would pick Kali over Harman there.
Yeah. Oh, but
But
if
it
I
would
put
be
Harmon,
sad
I
to see
save
Harman go
Revel.
down.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the
so
thing.
yeah.
I mean, it's ironic that I'm not even thinking that much about saving the
So one of
manufacturer of
us has
my
to save Harmon.
speakers that I very much like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. Like from a world benefit standpoint, it would be Harmon, Genelec, Kef. But
Yeah.
from a Blaine benefit standpoint, it would be Genelec, Kef, Gradient.
That's sensible.
Also,
to
because
me.
that would mean the majority of all speaker companies on Earth were Finnish.
Finnish supremacist over here. Okay. Next spicy take, guys. We need peppers.
Wait, what if you could kill 3 speaker brands?
Oh, okay.
Wait, should we do headphone companies and then speaker brands?
Oh yeah, sure. Headphone companies first. 3 headphone
Okay.
companies. Put the bullet in them.
Who wants to go first? Okay, Grado.
Grado. I think everyone agrees Grado.
Who did that distant mountain thing?
Roselsa or Rose Technics.
What? Like
It's
that?
it's like one of those chi-fi companies that like changes their name a few
Okay.
times.
I got my
They're not
spicy
like
answer here.
a real
What's your
Grado?
spicy?
Hold on, Grado. This next one is not controversial. Ultrasound.
Okay.
Costs.
Ooh, now that's what
Terrible
I'm
answer.
talking about.
Nah, that's bad. Those are so affordable though. Like
Actually,
I feel
okay.
like
So the thing
I
is,
feel
like,
like even
realistically,
Grado is kind of not a great answer because like they have like really expensive headphones, but like most of the people buying them are buying like an SR60 or SR80, which
Okay,
really
but the
aren't that
SR60
no.
big.
is
Hold
very
on.
overpriced.
Realistically, like, you cannot overlook Raycon. Raycon would take the spot of costs for me any
No,
day.
I don't care about Raycon. Like Raycon,
Well, that's the thing.
Raycon.
Like,
You
are
know,
these
you know
companies
the
that are actually
picture.
like doing things in the space that we care about, or they're just like generic slop
Like I
that
feel like you
exists?
need to
Listen,
you need to maximize the utility of like
Yeah,
taking the worst out. So offering the worst things at the worst prices, not
yeah.
just offering the worst things. And I feel like both Grado and Cost don't really fit that mold. Cost especially. Like
Grado
all of
is
Cost's
in
designs
fact
are
some of the
very cheap.
worst things.
Yeah, but they're still on ears, and so to the bin they go.
I mean, like, sorry. So, what's the logic on costs? Why kill costs?
It's just
He just hates on-ear designs
yeah, it's just on ears.
because it's
I mean,
heavy
also,
use.
I
So the
don't
clamp
think
is
they sound very good, but that's in large part because of the on-ear nature of the design, like the pinna crush, aspect. But no, I think you're right. Like, they are not egregious enough. They're not enough of an offender that they are worthy of, death. And the same would be true for Raycons. It's like, do we really care about Raycons? I get that argument, right? It's like,
Now, if either of them were ubiquitous enough that they
yeah,
actively steered the idea of sound quality towards an idea you don't like,
yeah.
that would also be like enough of like a
But Grado
like an argument.
does.
Like even if it's
I think Grado
even if it's
does.
economically viable and like affordable for people, it still needs to go.
Yeah. See, like, I can't even say Bayer Dynamic though, because
I can. That was going to be one of mine
yours are
for
yours.
sure.
So I would say
Yeah.
Bayer Dynamics consumer stuff, yes. I mean, like, their new stuff, the direction they've gone in with their consumer stuff, and the DT 1990 Pro
No.
2, like, all of the
And
recent
all
stuff
of it.
has been
No.
awful. Like, it's just not
Yeah. No.
even remotely what
All
it
of
should
it's
be. But
bad. I want all of it to
historically,
go. I
you
want
know,
none of it to be there. I want more competent headphone companies to take its place.
So So what's your 3, Griffin?
I would get rid of Bayer Dynamic. I would honestly probably this is going to be controversial. I would probably get rid of Hi-Fi Man.
I saved Hypha Man and I still get why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the third, it would have to be one of like the really expensive, like one of the company. Oh, it would be Abyss. It'd be Abyss 10 times out of 10.
Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot
yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
Yeah, no.
See, Abyss is the one that I have the most just personal dislike towards, but it doesn't really make that much sense. From like, I think that they'll
You got to
just go out of
maximize what
business
you're
on their
doing
own.
here with your
I mean, I just think
squelching.
they don't really make anything good and they charge a lot for it, and that their marketing and their philosophy and just the way they talk about audio is like a bit of a pox on the hobby and the literacy of audiophiles.
Clip that.
I stand by it.
But I don't know. I've had pleasant interactions with
I'm
some
sure
of the
they're fine
folks.
people. It's
Yeah.
just, the way they
Some of
have
them.
to conduct themselves as a company based on
I don't like
Also, the snake
the
products they
oil.
sell.
yeah, I don't like the snake oil bits like in the cable stuff. Like that to me is the thing
That has
that
been an ongoing and consistent thing for
like nothing to
a
do
long
with the
time.
headphones. Like the headphones I get they're having fun with, the designs that they're doing and stuff, but like the cable thing I don't get. Okay, so
Okay.
what are your other
So
sorry for Blaine, I
no,
mean.
I said all 3,
What were
didn't I?
yours?
It was Grado. It was wow, fuck. How am I
No, you
forgetting
definitely didn't
already?
say.
No, I said
I said
Grado,
great.
and that's for sure. Yeah, I agreed with Grado.
Yeah.
Um, right. This actually does get a little hard, doesn't it? I mean, I can actually see the logic on cost, to be honest, and I can see
Why?
the logic on buyer. Well, the hope is that something better fills the void, right?
For costs?
Yeah.
Something not on here at $50 or whatever, the $60
Oh
is the
no.
price.
I mean, that's just I just don't see that happening. I mean, for a lot like that already exists, to be clear. Like $50 headphones exist and they are all worse. And I think without cost in that space, I think we would just be left with terrible devices that
Really though?
might
Like
have
I don't
over
know
ear designs that are
I don't know
actually
how
just
much
on ear with
cost.
shitty pads
No, but I
that
don't know
don't
how much
actually seal.
the enjoyment that people have for the costs, like the Porta Pros and stuff like that. I don't know how much that actually pushes over your headphones to be better in that space.
I'm thinking I'm
Well, I think the
thinking
largest factor
I
pushing
have a
them to be better
very
in that space is
spicy
JBL.
Maybe. I
Sorry,
think JBL is probably
what'd you say, Blaine?
I have a very spicy thought.
Go for it.
Grado, Sony, Apple.
Ooh.
Okay, no, I get that. Like Sony hasn't done anything like truly
I would
great and up to
I would
their
say that
level, like in a long
so
time.
there's 2 things. One is that earpods are still pretty prolific and are really not very good. So and like they're probably more market share than every other headphone combined. And then there's AirPods, which are also not fantastic. So between Apple and Sony, I think that almost all of the bad sounding headphones that people own in the world are accounted for. Like just because they have the largest market share of stuff that's not very good.
Yeah, Blaine is just trying to maximize Bo's market share here.
Yeah.
I
Bose
mean,
I
really
see
yeah,
what
should
he's
it's
sponsor
doing.
your segments of the
Because
show.
like when you say Sony
Bose
though,
really
you
should sponsor my
when
segments.
you say Sony, you also yeet good products like the MV1
Yeah, I mean, when I say Apple, I eat good products like the AirPod Pro 2.
too, yeah, which is like the best product. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, I mean, but the thing is, I'm willing to do that. That's a
Yeah.
sacrifice I'm willing to make, and I think that it would be good for the market.
For your Bose supremacy.
Well, listen, I'm not a Bose shareholder. This is not financial advice.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Speaker companies that we're gonna yeet.
So Blaine's is going to be ATC, ATC, and ATC. He's going to eliminate them 3 times just to get the point across.
ATC is one of them. ATC is
I'm
absolutely one of them.
I'm aware.
So ATC, Klipsch,
Mhm.
lot of people getting conned into buying Klipsch. That
Yep.
sucks.
Yep.
Oh God, Kofi Bafour in the chat has actually just made number 3 really hard.
PMC.
Oh no, God, no,
No,
no.
what are you reading here?
Kofi Bafour said this, both B&W and Wilson Audio, and I'm having a real moment.
Wilson Audio.
Yeah, no, it's
B&W
Wilson
makes some
Audio.
crazy stuff too.
It's Wilson. It's Wilson Audio gets shot. It's
Tecton.
Klipsch gets shot.
I mean, with speakers, there's so many endless amounts of speaker companies that make stuff that's just really weird. So, like, you really have to
So
play the moral game
Hazio in
here.
chat says Klipsch is fine directivity wise. Yes, it is fine directivity wise. That's because they use a horn. That's their entire thing. The problem is it's terrible in a great number of other ways.
So,
And it's extremely prolific.
Okay, hold on. So mine is similar. Wilson definitely.
oh,
No question.
KRK, Golden and DMS.
KRK
So
is
no,
already
I'm actually gonna
bad.
say Yamaha.
Oh, okay.
Yep, nope, NS10. Just killing the NS10 is worth a lot.
And the whole HS series is like
Yeah, the HS is also suck.
pretty bad.
If I was a pro audio person, Yamaha would 100% have been on my list.
Yeah, because they're so fucking prevalent. And I think the KRKs are actually more prevalent, but I also think they're less bad.
They have got better over time. The original Rockets were, I legitimately think, the worst studio
so bad.
monitor on earth.
Yeah, no. Just the jump from
It
their
was everywhere.
third generation to their fourth generation was a big improvement. And I don't know what they're doing now. I've been out of the studio monitor game for a while, but and then I think the third would have to be something like really esoteric and expensive that people do actually buy.
So it is Wilson. Just
well,
twice.
I already chose Wilson.
Yeah, you can shoot them again.
Yeah. Honestly, no, I'll go with Klipsch then, because I think that's a very like ubiquitous brand that gets a lot of people very bad sound quality.
My honest question really is whether it should be Klipsch and Polk, because those two are basically, if people have
Polk has a lot
speakers
of
in their house,
like surround stuff and like smaller things that are like meant for a specific use case that work decently well.
All right, DMS is pointing out we could kill a holding company. That's actually a pretty. So who does Sound United own? Oh, but Sound United owns Denon, and Denon actually makes a lot of useful shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, not
it's
a ton of speakers though.
No speakers, but for source gear, Denon is actually reasonably priced and pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would it would let you double kill B&W and Polk, which would be great.
Okay, Kofi has said we can't kill holding companies.
If we can't kill holding company, yeah.
I'm gonna give you guys my 3. Anybody who does the horn loaded shit, so probably Klipsch, because that's probably the most ubiquitous one. But any of, like, if you go to Munich high end, there are so many of those like weird ass horn speakers setups, and they're all terrible. My number 2 would be Bang & Olufsen. Going with a different direction here.
Okay, that's surprising to me because Bang & Olufsen have made a number of quite good
stuff.
speakers.
Yeah.
The
But they've also made some
90
stuff that's, like,
and 5
bizarre.
are great.
Okay, that's fair.
They have made a lot of crap, that's for
Yeah.
sure. But I'm surprised.
Yeah, I haven't heard the good ones. I'll put it that way.
That's not surprising. They're very expensive.
My third one would be Sonos.
I think that Sonos is already doing that for you. I don't think you need to use that bullet. I think you can save that one.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
If not Sonos, because I legitimately think they may be bankrupt in the next 3 years, what would you pick?
If not Sonos.
Yeah.
Someone asked, what about IEM companies?
It's difficult to say for speaker companies because so many of the You know what? I'm going to say Tecton, just because that was shitty of that person to do to Aaron.
Fair.
Yeah.
So,
It's as good a reason as any, I guess.
yeah. Like, I would say Wilson. I agree with you. Like having been
the
to
thing is, I have so many more bullets I want for old speaker companies. I want to get Martin Logan. I want to get like B&W, obviously.
okay. The thing with Wilson is that when you go to Munich high end, there's Wilson speakers in a lot of different places. I saw them in different ones because people are also using them for like their DAC and amp stuff, right? That they're trying to demonstrate to people in these rooms. And weirdly, the the Wilsons are actually some of the better sounding setups that exist at those shows, in comparison to the sheer amount of madness that exists in some of these other setups. So, I
Okay,
suppose
wait. People in chat are doing the IEMs now.
Okay, you want to get to the IEMs? Okay.
I do,
Well,
yeah.
wait. So I want to just say about the Wilson why I'd say the Wilson, and it's not because they make the worst sounding speakers on earth. They don't. Like, I think almost everything Martin Logan has ever made sounds worse than almost everything that Wilson has ever made.
Mhm.
But they are
I'm gonna hit the
really
bathroom real quick.
culturally influential at the high end, peddling the worst shit.
Yeah. Okay, so if I can't choose Sonos, maybe I don't choose Tecton because it's just like one
I
example.
mean,
I think the bullet is better safe for KRK.
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
For
Those were
IEM
everywhere.
companies.
Okay.
So wait, are we saving or killing IEM companies?
Hey, what's up, Gadgetry? Shout outs to Gadgetry Tech.
Hi, Tommy.
Tommy. Oh wait, one person says saving, this is killing. Oh, Jamie's here as well. Shout outs to Jamie.
Why do
Saving
I see
first.
Gadgetry Tech?
Didn't we do saving them already? Didn't we already pick? I thought we did.
For IEMs? No.
Yeah, we didn't. Okay.
No.
Who would you save? It's Etymotic, I'm guessing.
I mean, Bose, Etymotic. I don't really need a third. Moondrop, I guess.
Wow, Blaine choosing to save the weebs. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, it's for the anime children.
Wow. Yeah, DMS makes a good point, and why this is difficult, I think.
Yeah, like you can
There are just so many bad
you can
companies.
close your eyes, spin in any direction, throw a rock at Can Jam New York or any of the Can Jams and hit an IEM.
And you'll
company
hit a bad IEM at the music tech table.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, wait, if I could like not destroy like the store element of music tech, but destroy like all of the IEM companies that are like under the umbrella. Just a whole bunch of like crazily priced stuff that is just not good at all. But that gets glazed and then
wait, are we doing we're doing the save first, not
Oh, we're doing the save?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So
well, I already said I would save Crin's brand.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think we did.
I would
actually
save...
wait. Is Crinier going to have like $20 stuff?
Who knows?
Ooh, I don't know.
Like, if Crinier was going to have $20 stuff, then it would be an obvious save for me because that's the only reason Moondrop is getting saved.
Well, so I wouldn't be saving Moondrop actually, because
you wouldn't. Yeah, no, I mean,
no,
I wouldn't save them if I had
to my mind. They are like still resting on the laurels of 2020 to 2021 when they had a kind of boom.
They haven't kept up with the meta,
and they just haven't done anything interesting.
Yeah,
I would say
for interesting, Crin definitely wins. But I'll never.
Well, yeah, but also like for cheap
so.
stuff, I feel like Truthier has done a better job of at least paying mind to the existence of new ideas being present.
I could see Truthier and Crinier. That the problem is that would take the spot of Etymotic, which I actually have uses for. Which is where I sort of struggle there.
Well,
I'm going to say, I'm going to say,
I know, but one of them has to be Bose because I want ANC.
Yeah.
One of yours has to be Apple.
Well, probably Griffins.
There's
the ones I'm. Yeah. So the ones I'm saving are Crin's brand. Dunu, because they make IEMs. Yeah, I know you don't like that
That's
take.
such a bad call.
I know you don't like
That's
that take.
such a bad call. Jesus Christ. Like
Uh,
some of the worst
so
ergonomics and like
no,
some of
no,
the
no. I
most.
have no. Hold on. You're talking about the big chunker ones. I'm talking about the DK series. They made some actually genuinely extremely ergonomic IEMs with the DK
Oh,
3001,
you
I
know what?
think
The
was the
Falcon lineup
and the Falcon lineup as well.
very
Yeah,
ergonomic for
very
me.
ergonomic. Yeah, so like they've made stuff that's ergonomic. I'm not saying that they've nailed the tunings on all these things,
Yeah, they just
right?
haven't made anything good since Tom left.
That's the unfortunate thing. Yeah. So I have a
Yeah.
soft spot for Dunu because of Tom and the stuff that he kind of, helped with. Um
I'm still not
so maybe
happy
that's
about this pick.
okay, fine. Maybe I'll take it back because Tom's no longer there. Um but certainly Crin's brand. My second one is 64 Audio because they make the I like the different tuning options with the thing that they have. I find them reasonably ergonomic, and also they make the U6T, which is a good product. And the third one is I'm so hesitant to say The Audio. Like I'm just
I mean,
If
like,
Crin didn't exist, I would save the audio.
yeah, that's the problem, right? I'm hesitant to say Moondrop as well because the cartoon children, you know.
Well,
I
don't save
mean,
Moondrop. They don't. They
Yeah,
don't.
no, I can't
They
do
don't
it.
offer anything that the audio doesn't.
Yeah, yeah.
all right, I'm gonna actually make a revision to my statement. If I'm thinking about global benefit, I would save Truthier and Crinier instead of Etymotic. But
Yeah.
from a selfish personal benefit standpoint, I would save Etymotic.
Got it.
Yeah. I would probably go Truthier as well. I would go Crinier, Truthier, and 64 Audio.
That's fair. Okay, now who are we getting rid of?
Okay.
Wait, does that mean you don't want an ANC in here?
Not really, because I got my ANC over ears with Bose.
Fair enough.
Well, not if you delete Bose.
Yeah, but I'm not deleting Bose. I'm saving them. Just for over
You
ears.
didn't save Bose for in ears.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Anyway, no, I'm mean.
Everyone is saying to kill KZ. Are we all killing KZ?
Yeah. KZ, of course, of course.
I mean, I don't know.
I
I
actually
don't
don't
really
know if
care
I'm
about
killing
them.
KZ. Like, I actually think
KZ
KZ
gets
is like the only brand that consistently does stuff that's like less expensive than Truthier, that like literally anyone in the world
that's
can
true.
afford.
But they also do
Um,
all that stuff of like 24 drivers,
well, yeah, no,
very
they're as
shady
a
stuff.
company, they're terrible.
Yeah.
They're completely unethical.
They're responsible for a lot of like
But that's why they can sell at
misinformation
such low
and
prices, and
yeah.
unfortunately the utility of that does outweigh the negative stuff for
Oh,
people shopping
wait,
in very poor countries.
is Westone still a thing? Do they still exist?
Barely.
If they do, Westone would be on that list.
I wouldn't get rid of West Tone.
Yeah, because you like things that are ultra warm poo.
I've literally never even heard of West Tone
Oh, really?
IEM.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more so that like I feel like there are worse companies.
Okay.
Is Jerry Harvey Audio still alive?
I think they are bankrupt.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but bankruptcy doesn't mean that they've
No,
been
I know.
shuttered. It just
I
means that
know.
they've gone into yeah. Well, JHA seems to still be selling stuff, so apparently they're still somewhat alive.
Okay.
Campfire?
I wouldn't get rid of Campfire, actually. They have a lot
Who
of
would you
very
get?
expensive, very bad stuff, but their ergonomics are generally quite good, and they look nice. Yeah.
Who would you?
I love to eat dinner, and y'all are still trying to genocide companies. ... Wow.
I am gonna have to go pretty soon, by the way, just to let you know.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, we're almost done.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's hard for me to be objective about this because what I want is not for the worst of the worst to be removed. I want the mediocrity that people care way too much about to be removed, like the stuff that stops us from moving
Mhm.
forward. So like I would actually probably choose to remove Moondrop.
Wow.
Yeah. Uh
I mean, for the cartoon children alone, for the Moondrop Edge alone, they deserve shame for that product. It's just like a terrible, like, okay, my spicy take here is it's also bad sounding. It's a bad sounding headphone. Like if it didn't have
Resolve
the
hates lower
cartoon,
mids confirmed. You saw it. You saw it here first, chat.
no, the problem is the treble. It's the
Yeah, not
worst
enough
sounding treble.
treble for the
No,
big
like
lower mids that it
it's
has.
harmonically imbalanced treble. It's harsh.
Can you believe
It's
this guy?
compressed sounding. It's like the most compressed sounding headphone that I've heard in a very long time. It's awful.
You could have just said the anime children were bad, dude.
Yeah, that too.
That would be enough.
That too. Yeah.
Um,
But I like Moondrop because I like the Cosmo. So
Jamie says tonight on the Headphone Show, the crew makes enemies of all the audio brands.
yeah.
I mean, we're just having a laugh. Oh, I would get rid of Fat Freak because they're another one where I just feel
What
like people care way too much about their products and it's actually steering the hobby towards more degeneracy in terms of the sound signatures that are preferred.
what about Zagat?
No, I think they're fine. They
Okay.
I mean, they're like a Linsol brand that I think is honestly had more reasonable stuff than most other like name or no name Chinese brands. Like I'm trying to think of ones that like I feel like if they were removed, we could begin to heal. And I feel like Moondrop and what was the other one I said just now? Fat Freak.
Compressed is not it's not about that's literally a lower treble resonance. When I say compressed, I mean something at around
So why
like,
didn't you just say
because people don't know what, anyway, it doesn't matter. When when the lower treble harmonics dominate over the upper treble harmonics, things sound compressed to me.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm going through the list of brands and I feel like
You
most
just
of
love
them are just
IEM
built.
so much that you want to keep them all.
No, it's honestly that most of them are their foremost crime is being mediocre, and like I feel like that's not killable. I'm
You think
between
Moondrop Edge is good? Oh my god.
I'm
DMS
between.
confirmed into edging.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I
Dude,
like the Edge.
I listened, I was like, how do people like this? This is a terrible sounding product.
Man, I would say Let Shore if they didn't have the Cadenza 12. Like that one IEM literally saves them as a brand for me. But honestly, my answer is actually probably Samsung.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say good take. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say good take.
I'm actually locked into two of my picks because of the logic that underpinned them.
Okay.
Like it was the same in the killing over-ear companies of killing Sony and killing Apple will eliminate the majority of the bad experiences in spending more than $100 on audio equipment that happen in the world. So it really, I just have the third bullet. I have to pick where it goes.
Okay, well, what are your first two for IEMs?
Those ones.
Oh, it's Apple and Sony again for this?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, because the logic is the same.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, if it wasn't for IEMs, I probably wouldn't have picked Apple because the Max doesn't matter. But whatever, I still picked it.
Well, you could pick Beats for in-ears as well, or do they fall under Apple umbrella?
I mean, they fall under Apple. That is literally an Apple brand.
Because deleting the Power
Store.
Beats Pro 2 is a benefit to humanity.
Yeah, but I don't really think, I don't know. I don't really care about that. Like, yes, it's going to be gone, but I don't think about it that much. I'm trying to think. I feel like, would it be really mean of me if I said Subtonic?
No, I think that's perfectly valid. I mean, it is one of the better tunings of the very expensive stuff, though. So I think it's a little bit hard to say, like,
well,
they're paying all of this money for something that sucks, right? Because I don't think anyone has ever said that IEM sucks.
It's not that it sucks. It's that I really don't like the direction that they contribute to the hobby going in. Like,
right.
I don't
would say
want
they're
people
less
to get
guilty of
this.
that than like the music tech brands, though.
But
like,
yeah, aren't there
other
others
forces
that are
that are more
$12,000
of a problem in that regard? You're
that
just
are
probably
gonna
not as
sound worse.
familiar with them.
like what?
Like Unique Melody.
Yeah.
Does Unique Melody have
They have a
anything that
$10,000 one, I
expensive?
think.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, they have things almost twice as expensive,
Oh
but
my God.
worse.
Yeah.
Jeez, I thought Unique Melody capped out at like 2K.
No, they go near to 10K.
Oh yeah, then just shoot Unique Melody then. I do think that the Storm is one of those things where I kind of feel like it's bad for the hobby just because making people feel like it's
Well,
valid
no,
to charge that much money for an earphone
no,
is
but here's
bad
here's
for the
here's the
hobby.
problem. Here's the
Agreed.
problem. The Storm is just the only one there that gained traction as like having that, like highly lauded product that happens to also be, the 5,000 or whatever it is, right? It's
Yeah, but I see that as a problem.
for sure. But all of I would still say it is better. Okay, it's an interesting question. Is it worse that there is a generally good sounding product that happens to cost around $5,000
That's an
versus
in-ear. Yeah, I would agree. I think
versus
that's
bad sounding products that cost twice as much?
yeah. No, I think it is worse that someone has validated the heights
The
of
high
IEM
price tag.
spending. Yeah, no,
I see.
like
I
I
see. I see
think
your
that
point. I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
like and that's why I said it seems kind of mean because I'm basically picking them because they made one of the
A good.
only
Yeah.
competently tuned high-end IEMs.
Yeah.
But because of that, they've taken what's previously just a joke segment and actually
Yeah, an
given it some
indefensible
validity.
Yeah.
product
And I
and
don't
turned it
like
into
that they have given a defense to the
It's an interesting
indefensible.
perspective.
Yeah.
I won't
They,
say I
they,
fully
they, they've
agree, but
attacked
I
you,
see
Blaine, and
where you're
therefore you
coming
need to
from.
defend yourself. Yeah.
Ah,
Ruined your worldview, so you got to delete them.
all right. Oh yeah, I'd kill Bryce Audio actually if I can get an
I don't
extra
even know
because
what
they have
that
like a
is.
$16,000 IEM. It's just a Harman IEM.
Save 3 snake oil companies.
I would save shit. I would definitely save shit. I love reading
I
Jason's
would save
blog
shit.
posts. What other snake oil companies? So Kofi says we're not doing that. Apparently we are, dude.
I would save Exogal because they made the only DAC that I found I really enjoyed the sound of, and it has measurable coloration. It seems.
Would
Isn't it
any of you
discontinued?
guys save?
Yes, I would save them literally.
Would
You
any
so
of
you
you
would
guys save
yeah.
AudioQuest?
No.
Yeah, I would save AudioQuest.
So,
Why not?
Why?
so
Because their power conditioners are actually some of the best you can buy.
Yeah, but they sell the overwhelming majority of fucking snake oil cables. Okay, so hollow audio is being proposed in chat. I probably wouldn't. I probably would not save hollow audio. I'm trying to
I
think
would
who I
save
would.
topping.
They're not a snake oil company though.
I know that's why I'm joking. But see, they are, because they're indexing for imperceptible differences in measurements.
You says how is shit a snake oil company?
Well,
There's
that's
two
what I'm
very
saying.
different perspectives here.
Like there is a sense in
No,
which you could say like all DAC and amp manufacturers are snake oil companies,
Except for
and
the ones explicitly marketing around measurements, I would
like,
say.
well, no, like I'd say the only one that's not the snake oil companies are like FIO and fucking
What do you
JDS.
mean?
JDS and
I would
RME.
also add Neurochrome. Tom at
Yep. No, I would
Neurochrome has never
I
made
would put
any.
Neurochrome in there. RME is in there because they actually produce a product that does a thing. Ferrum technically because they do have that DAC that does a thing.
I don't
Um,
think I would count Ferrum as non-snake oil.
Benchmark 2. Benchmark.
Benchmark, yeah, Benchmark toes the line, but they probably do not count as snake oil. Someone says I'd save Woo Audio. I would save the Fireflies. I'm not sure I'd save any of the other Woo Audios, but I would save the
Fireflies
Fireflies.
are bad, dude. Bad.
It's
Blaine and I are
pretty.
on the same page here.
Yeah, we said RME.
So yeah, I'd save shit. I'd save the Woo Audio Fireflies, and actually, no, Pass Labs. Nelson Pass
really?
is a quirky eccentric. I enjoy him.
Oh,
You
for
gotta
the
have
snake
one.
oil
You
brand.
gotta
I
have
got
one.
you. Yeah. I'm trying to think of I don't know if I like. Yeah, maybe Audio Quest would be on my list as well.
So I would save like my actual list would be Hibby. I
mm,
actually might save shit too because I feel like the fact that they make a bunch of affordable stuff but have their own like not mythology but like their story I think is cute. And then I would actually probably save Pass too. Like I feel like he has ideas that even if they don't lead to universally the best designed products, they are interesting. And
Well, and also Nelson's a nice guy. He puts out a lot of information for free, even if some
that's
of it
true.
is
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
It's like I like the presence that in the same way that I like the presence shit has in the community, I like the presence that Pass has in the community.
Fair enough.
see, I
Well, I
think
say
that
that I like shit. I like the presence that Jason does. If I could kill the Dax side of shit, I would.
I think that Neurochrome should have a stronger presence in the community, and it's unfortunate that he doesn't.
Tom Christensen is too much of a nerd, I think.
To care.
Yeah. Well, I think because like he really like he used to be like an IC designer. He's going for like his second masters now or some shit. Dude is just living his life and honestly living it very well. I don't think he really cares that much about people talking on forums.
Wait, did somebody say PS Audio for Snake Oil Company to
Save?
to
I
delete?
would not save PS Audio.
Oh, to save. Okay, I got you. Yeah, not to save. Okay. I don't think I have any others. I mean, would I save Abyss?
Why would you save Abyss?
There's
There's
no good
one
reason
thing
to
that I
do it.
like about Abyss,
Yeah.
which is they produce on the headphone side at least. They produce products that are so focused on the effects that it's a nice counterexample to the usual sort of like stuff that we get as far as good is concerned, right? Like, because there's something to be said for it's a crowd that I don't participate in at all. In fact, I sort of plant my flag in opposition to that. But there is something that they enjoy about it that I wouldn't want to rob them of. Like the novelty side of things. Griffin hates this take.
I also hate this take.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Like
not a good take.
in a world where we can't eliminate these problems, then yes, dealing with them makes sense. But it's like saying, if I could stop
Well, no,
anyone
no,
from
no,
ever
no, no.
being
That's not
born
quite.
blind, I would
That,
let
that's not.
people
That's
be
not the
born
point. That's not the
blind.
point. No, no. The point is more. Hey, look at these crazy things that you can create with weird colorations in products. Obviously, I think that their approach to
There are
producing
companies that
things,
do that for less money, though.
but not quite the same way. And also, so that's what I
Bad
was gonna
take,
say.
bad
The
take,
What is
bad
biggest,
the
take.
way you're talking about? Like, I'm not like I feel like Hi-Fi Man has plenty of options
not like
where.
that. Nothing is as colored
What do you mean?
in the way that the Abyss AB 1266 is. That's the one of the wonkiest tunings that you can find, and it has this effect that no other headphone seems to create that certain people enjoy. I do not, but I'm saying
I don't
certain
know. It's
people
kind
enjoy.
of similar to the. Well, I guess that's not a headphone that exists anymore. So maybe you're right. I was gonna say it's kind of similar to the original AG6, but
What? No.
the
This
Abyss.
is also a bad
The
take.
only. Okay, wait. Here's a better one. Stacks.
Sorry, what
Oh,
is this for? Are
wait,
you
the
saving
save?
them or?
Well, I'm sort of not. I'm not doing the bit. I'm just saying like companies that do this thing for their
Yeah,
sound
no,
profile, their headphones. Stacks is the other one that does this.
Stacks
yep.
is the one that I would say makes it
Yeah.
okay to kill
But
Abyss.
Stacks is not as much of a snake oil company. Abyss is a snake oil company, right? So
Yes.
that's why I'm putting them in the like if we're gonna have it
Mm.
in the category, right? Um,
Yeah, I don't know. Like I wanted to save Stacks for an over-ear company because I really actually do like Stacks.
Yeah, I think there
Stacks
should
is
be an
why you delete
electrostat
Abyss,
company.
and that's reasonable. Like the take here from Kofi, Stacks is why you delete Abyss. I can, yeah, that is a
That's just
reasonable.
Griffin's take, but said in chat, so now you agree with it.
He didn't say it that way. The
I
difference is
literally
He
he's
just
just
did.
said Stacks is why you can delete Abyss.
okay. But here's the problem. As we just said, Stacks is not a snake oil company.
I love it.
uh,
Okay, so
yeah,
now that
Stacks
we've
is
made all of
respectable.
our
That's right.
Respectable colorations.
So we've got like 4 minutes before I have a hard stop.
Okay.
If you could kill 3 materials that people make headphone and audio products out of, which 3 would you pick?
Any of the 3D printed filaments that people use.
PLA.
Based alert.
Wait, are you saying
So
like PLA, or are you saying like the stuff that they like
I would
I
say
will
3D
literally
printer
use
filaments
all
is a
M-
3
except.
spots for whatever
MJF
materials allow
or
people to
No, no, no.
3D print headphones.
Yeah, no, 3D printed plastic is a totally valid one. I would do that. I do wood. I do glass.
hmm
All very good options.
hmm I would do
Carbon
wood.
fiber is a good one too.
Carbon
I haven't
fiber.
seen that many though that are carbon fiber.
So
I've seen
there
it's
are
only been getting more common.
CF. It's like a 50-50 for me between killing glass and CF because there's a lot more ugly, stupid CF. But glass is
I don't
such a
see CF.
stupid
I just
idea.
see
Yeah.
like a sticker of CF
Yeah, but
usually, or like
well, some
the
of them
yolk
are
is made of,
real.
yeah, like the yolks on the Utopias are made of that, right? That's
Yeah,
like
and
one
that's
example.
bad.
Yeah, it's stinky.
Yeah.
So you know, actually, you know what? Fuck it. We're reeling in glass. Carbon
Yeah.
fiber, wood, anything 3D printed.
Let's go.
I would
Disagree,
s-
Andrew?
That's literally my list.
I
That's
don't think I have any. Certainly I put wood on that list. I'm trying to think of what else. I'm
Someone
not
in
a big
chat
fan.
says killing wood. Are you serious? I am all too serious.
I
absolutely.
It's just, to me, there's like no function for it, and it doesn't need to
Yes.
be. And my biggest complaint with it too is more like the veneer kind of style, or like there's wood that like looks really bad on certain headphones, like the Hi-Fi Man, like the ones on the HE 1000 series, like looks really bad. And then there's also other wood like on the cups for the Sundara clothes that looks really, really bad.
Okay, wait, 2
So
minutes left. What 3 materials do you want to be used more?
carbon fiber, no, I'm just kidding.
Um,
Wood,
typical ABS plastic, magnesium.
magnesium would be high on my list for sure.
I don't know
Like,
if graphene would make sense. So, no, not that. Like, I just want
For
lighter
me,
materials, is what I'm trying to say. I
for
don't know a
me,
third
it'd
one that would be a
be
good fit.
ABS, magnesium, and composites. So like
Mm.
composites are like reinforced plastics, so that you can get a lot of you can get more strength
see,
than
I thought you were going to ask
ABS
this
or
question with respect
POM
to
or
like
whatever.
driver materials.
Oh, no. No.
That's why I was like, well, because those are memes too, right?
No, I mean I would kill the beryllium meme. Obviously, we all would, but
Yeah. Silicon crystals.
All right,
Yeah, I
well,
don't know what else. Yeah.
should we wrap up?
everyone likes the magnesium take. Magnesium is very popular. Take notes, companies.
Titanium. Somebody says we should have titanium headphone.
I mean, for how much they cost, I kind of agree.
Yeah. My worry there is the weight. Like, kind of why I like magnesium as an option is because it's so lightweight. Handling some of the old Sony headphones, like the MDR F1 made out of magnesium, it made me realize, like, oh, all headphones should be made out of this.
The thing about magnesium is that it's
Just itch
very
to work
light
with.
relative to it has very low density, which is really nice. So you can have
Yeah.
a more visually large thing, whereas titanium is super
I
strong for
thought
its
you
weight,
didn't. You're
but
talking
it
about
get a
the
bit
slats,
skeletal.
right, Griffin? Like the little.
What?
You were talking about the titanium one, right? Or
No, the
magnesium?
MDR
MDR
F1
F1 is like the.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the
it's the
MV
ones
one.
that
Okay,
Oh, no, no, no.
Darude is wearing in Sandstorm.
okay. Because no, the material that gets used in the MV1 is one that I actually quite like, which
I would
is
assume that's titanium, but I'm
aluminum,
not.
isn't it?
Oh, well, that
It
makes
might be
sense.
aluminum, yeah.
Yeah.
But that feels nice. It doesn't look. It looks unassuming, right? Like it
Mhm.
doesn't look like anything special. And then you feeling like,
It
wait,
wouldn't
that's
surprise
actually
me if it's magnesium. Like
maybe it is.
Sony has a lot of magnesium because they do cameras. So
That makes
Right.
sense.
That's true. Yeah.
Think we should wrap it up. Right, guys?
Okay, there you go. That's the one to kill. Hemp.
All right.
All right. That's it for the stream, guys.
We're
much
not
thank you all for
gonna
joining
we're not
us.
gonna do an after stream, are we? I wasn't planning
No.
to.
I'm
I have to
not.
go eat.
Blaine, do you want to quickly
Okay.
take us out?
As always, we have been brought to you by headphones.com, your number one place to purchase and learn about audio equipment. Speakers, DACs, amps, cables, and yes, headphones all available with our pretty ridiculous 365-day return policy. This channel is a non-profit maker, to say the least. So if you do like our content, buying through the store is the most effective way to support us. It keeps us all fed and watered and etc. In addition to having a store, we also have a community, the forum.headphones.com community, where you can suggest topics for live streams like this one. We also have a Discord, discord.gg/headphones. Join both of them, talk to us, tell us we're stupid, get mad at us because we said that wood should be banned from headphones. And thank you all for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the show.
Bye, everybody.